And we are back now, coming in from our quick little break there, right on time for our grand finals to get underway. We just concluded our third place match, a complete mirror matchup there between Team Ratless and Alpha X. Now, we got the big boys. Well, yeah, we got the big boys coming in here. Oliveira and Dragon Phoenix Gaming.
Let's go, Papi. Let's go. The main event, what everyone has been waiting for, the grand finals, is now upon us. And as a reminder to everyone, these grand finals are a little bit different because this is a best of 9, not a best of 7. So first to 5 wins. The other thing that this means is that, of course, there are no vetoes. Every map is to be played if we went all the way for a full series. And yeah, coming into this tournament, these were the players that we had our eyes on. These were the most dominant players, the most dominant teams in the round of 16. And finally, they will face off.
Most dominant? Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, they are going to be facing off here. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, being a team that until last night had not dropped a single map, and even then, it was a little bit of special circumstances when they did end up losing those maps. They are a team who kind of 1v2'd their way into the grand finals. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, or on the other side of this matchup, Team Oliveira, very, very high-profile team, arguably had the tougher bracket to get to this point, having to face On-Site Gaming in the quarterfinals, I believe it was, having to face Ratless a little while just last night as well. Yeah, not quite as dominant as Dragon Phoenix Gaming, but I will say that based on what we've seen, they have been able to coordinate themselves and really figure out the teamwork aspect very, very well.
Definitely, it's something that is definitely worth bringing up because I see some people in the chat talking about how, like, yo, Hero is the best Protoss in Korea, Dark is the best Zerg in Korea, Serral is, arguably the best player in the world. They're of a particular class of player, I should say, like S tier. And Time is a great Terran player, don't get us wrong, but it feels like there is a bit of a gap there. But despite that, you just brought it up. Oliveira, they took down On-Site Gaming. They took down Maru and Solar. And that says something. That says that clearly Serral and Oliveira as a team can work quite well, and they can take down arguably superior players. I do think Maru and Solar are comparable to Hero and Dark. Of course, Hero and Dark are quite different stylistically, and you were talking about it, about how aggressive they can be and how they were undefeated. They didn't drop a single map until the semifinals, and even in the semifinals, they were having fun and they were off racing.
Yeah.
Like, that's how confident Hero and Dark were.
Yeah, and they definitely had the right to be confident in those semifinals, but now, as we're getting into the grand finals, well, like you were saying, Oliveira and Serral, they are S-tier players. I mean, no disrespect intended to a Laser, to Diego, to Ragnarok, or Zaun, but yeah, they are a little bit of a tier below, and now I have a feeling that they are going to be taking things a little bit more seriously, but we'll see. We're spawning into Polska. In the top left, we got Serral, we got Oliveira. Put them together, there's Oliveira.
In the bottom right-hand corner, we have Hero and Dark representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. And we can see that they are playing their main races. I wonder if they're going to random it up and try and play some of their off races here in the grand finals.
Well, that's the thing that I wanted to speculate before we got into the map here. It is a best of 9. There are a lot of opportunities, and I have to say, we've seen Serral's Terran in the past. It's pretty good. We've seen Oliveira's Protoss in the past. It's also pretty good. I'm hoping Dark and Hero are going to be able to convince Team Oliveira to off-race for one map
It's possible, mate. It is possible. Anything is possible here in the grand finals in the best of 9. So far, for the time being, the first map is going to be Polka. We were talking about it before, but it is one of the more macro-oriented maps. It is big. There's a lot of bases to be taken. There's a lot of choke points. There's a lot of like little paths and paths that can be taken advantage of. A lot of places to take these fights. So I expect this game to go on a little bit longer, but we'll see, because typically Hero and Dark do everything they can to avoid the late game.
Yeah, that's almost understating it.
Yeah,
and thankfully for Hero and Dark, there's no Protoss in this matchup, so they don't have to worry too much about the late game.
True, they don't have to worry about Sky Toss, and Sky Toss can sometimes be the most terrifying thing about 2v2 late game. Meanwhile, we do see Time going, or Oliveira going for a little bit of an SCV scout, confirming the Stargate opener here of Hero. So now they know to prepare here for an Oracle.
He just let Protoss attack, and he will, and Zerg, he just very greedy.
Oh.
Time reading this, or Oliveira reading this correctly.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're trying to.
See if it's Phoenix.
Yeah, they're trying to piece together here. He wants to see.
Yeah, but I think, well, maybe Oracle actually.
Yeah, they're trying to piece together if it's an Oracle or a Phoenix opener here. They don't know. Oh, but he gets back in. Up.
Yeah.
He will be able to sneak past the Queens and confirm that Phoenixes are on the way from Hero. What does Serral and Oliveira do with that information? No, side note, I
will make one.
I feel like I do pause more when Serral and Oliveira speak, just because I can understand what they're saying.
Yeah, I agree. I think like typically if the team is English speaking, we can let them talk so that everyone can hear and understand what they're saying. We try not to talk over some of the other teams either. Oh.
Speaking of which, we need a translator.
Yeah, with that Phoenix opener, we do see Hero moving out across map. He's going to be able to take out one of these Overlords, but only one. It looks like they're going to be forced back. And touching on the Phoenixes overall, we have seen time and time again in this 2v2 event, Phoenix play can do very well here. They are an amazing supportive unit, and you can transition into Skytoss from here as well.
Yeah, especially if, by the looks of things, Dark is looking to be a little bit more Ling heavy. Hero lifts up the banelings of Serral. If Serral is being a little bit more stringent with his banelings, that can absolutely create an opening.
Mm-hmm. It really can. And this kind of Phoenix opener is great as well, especially because Time, I think almost every single game that he's played, he's gone for a 2-1-1. We see even here, Stim is on the way. And if we want to get into any drop play, we have to get past these Phoenixes. We do see the add-on swap. Hero confirms Time's opener, or Oliveira's opener, so they're fully aware of the commitment into bio.
Yeah, that was something we saw a lot of last night. Was part of why Team Rattlers was able to do so well against Team Oliveira is because pretty much every single map, when Oliveira went for his drops, Skilless was ready to meet those drops with Phoenixes. Now, obviously, Serral eventually kept him busy long enough that Oliveira could get some of the drops off, so maybe we'll see that again here tonight, but we could also just as well see a scenario where Hero just snipes every single medevac from the sky before they can, get across the map.
Yeah, we'll see if Oliveira commits to going for a drop, or if he goes for a main push instead. For the time being, he's going to be kept at home. Back across the map, we see Hero and Dark have been able to very comfortably just drone up and probe up and focus on their economies. No surprise here from Serral. We've seen time and time again, he commits into a very roach-heavy composition, and he goes for Vipers to support his roaches. And Vipers with parasitic bombs are a great way to shut down these Phoenixes. But for the time being, he doesn't really have much anti-air available. And as a result, he's going to lose his queen.
Just like so. Spores were available, but not quite in position. Oh.
Mate, there's no turret in the main base of Oliveira. A lot more SCVs is going to be going down. The NG base get delayed as well. But because they know where the Phoenixes are, Oliveira can commit to his double drop.
Yeah. And he's going straight across the map. There is a scan. Oliveira will confirm not just the Robo Bay of Hero, but will also confirm that there's not a lot of defenses back home either.
Yeah, exactly. We see the army, the Bio army trying to find a way in. Meanwhile, we see a transition into Phoenix Colossus from Hero. Again, this is a very common kind of TV or PvT strategy, and it can work quite well even against Zerg. So his composition of choice does make plenty of sense. We're still kind of waiting to see if Oliveira is able to find any damage. So far, he just hasn't been able to get into any of the bases.
I feel like I'm secondhand smooching here at the side of these Phoenixes and Colossus.
In honor of Asher's birthday, this time I will allow the secondhand smudging. Oh my god. So yeah, Oliveira hasn't been able to do anything with his opener. He goes for a scan just to confirm what exactly is going on here. Likewise, Dark is committing into Roach play. He's actually looking to transition eventually at some point into Hydras, into Lurkers, into Vipers.
Yeah, don't say Lurkers. As that's another really good way of dealing with the Marine Tank Army or unit composition that Oliveira seems to be going for. We haven't really, not a lot of my eyes haven't really been on Serral so far in this game just yet, because it seems like he hasn't went for any major tech choices either. He is getting the Hive quite a bit quicker than, wait, what? Is that a second infestation bit? No, that's a lair. No, wait.
What are you saying? Are you okay?
I was gonna say, Serral is getting the Hive quite a bit quicker than Dark, but then I had to second guess myself because I wasn't sure if that was a lair or a Hive that Dark had.
Yeah. So Dark is starting his Hive much later. So Dark prioritized his Hydrogen and Hydra production over his tech. And again, we were touching on this. Serral, game after game after game, his composition of choice is Roach, Viper, and there are the Vipers that are on the way. So this, of course, hits a little bit faster because you don't have to wait for Lurkers. And we'll see how much this can get done. For the time being, it looks like a couple of Marines are being caught out in the middle of the map.
Oof. I just appreciated Hero lifted every single Marine he could have with his Phoenixes. He didn't have to, but he did, because why not?
He did not. And here we go. Dark and Hero pushing on forward here. Hero has to try and CC as many tanks as possible.
And he will be able to catch two of them at the very least. The Ravagers and the Roaches are still very much alive and in play here for Dark. The Colossus in the back are chipping away at the Marines. Time. Oliveira loses his entire army. I am so glad that Roach Colossus isn't a regular 1v1 unit composition.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Oliveira, he may have lost his entire bio army, but those two tanks held the line there. The defensive position was just a little bit too good. And look at the supplies. Hero and Dark spent a lot of it trying to break that. Every single Phoenix just went down. All the Colossi survived, though, and that's a bit of a terrifying prospect. But now the Vipers are coming in, and in that next fight, the Vipers are going to be looking to abduct and yoink every single one of those Colossi.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. But at the same time, Hero's starting to transition a little bit. Disruptors are on the way for him.
Yes, Telu's out Phoenix. So now it's good for us. We just defend.
He is going for that disruptor transition.
I'm making goals
I will check if they have Hive.
Yeah,
Ghosts
you can see. You can see Serral.
They're so greedy. Only Robo unit.
Like, what a clown, Bob. He's so greedy.
What do you think?
But they're correct. Like,
I need to stand back a little bit.
They were basically theorizing that they were ahead after that attack, and they are. You know, we do see that Hero is having a hard time transitioning from that point. And as soon as they clean up this harassment, they should be committing for their attack.
Yeah. Just clean that up, trying to max out. Serral not too far behind when it comes to maxing out. Oliveira looking to drop. Once again, this is the tactic that gave Team Serral so much success. Serral will push out with a maxed army, distract their opponents quite a bit. Oliveira just drops in the main, takes out as much tech and economy as he can.
Yeah, there we go. Almost every single lurker just went down. Some of the Colossi went down as well. The drop is going to get cleaned up. Ooh, a bit of a rough drop there from Oliveira.
Yeah, not the greatest in the world, but it did force a recall here for Hero. Serral now has an opening to push on forward.
Yes, Serral just completely demolishes the army here of Dark. Storms are going to be able to zone away part of the Roaches here, but it looks like they're just maybe a little bit too much. There's another Blinding Cloud. Only one lurker is left.
And I doubt that's going to be enough to go toe-to-toe with that army, but combined with the Disruptor and combined with the Colossus, it's enough to halt the advance of Serral and his Roaches and Ravagers.
Yeah, and here we go. The Novas are going to be going off as well. They're going to be able to force Serral back, and this is a pretty huge moment here where Serral and Oliveira had a massive advantage, but they are deflected, and Hero's able to get away with this center base.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a very key position right now for Hero. If he can hold that, he is going to have such an economic advantage as the game continues. Dark and Hero fighting in the middle of the map. Once again, it's mostly the Roach Ravager army of Serral, but Oliveira has been able to recover. He has Ghosts now with his Bio army.
Oh, he does have those Ghosts for the EMPs. He can also snipe those Lurkers as well. Ghosts are exactly what you want in this position. Looks like the center base of Serral is going to be going down here. Ooh, Oliveira is left to his own devices. It looks like he's going to be able to take a decent fight, but he has to be careful not to commit.
He really, really does, and he is not committing whatsoever. Good yoink from Serral, gets a disruptor as Nova was out, but now our DPG boys are starting to converge in. I almost can't tell who's winning this fight, but it looks like the Lurkers from Dark and the Archons of Hero are able to keep this push going.
Mate, the flanking Lurkers were insane. They took down the majority of the Bio army. Oliveira was caught completely off guard by those Lurkers, and they're being forced all the way back. Serral needs a little bit more time to rebuild his army, to regather all that energy. It looks like, though, Dark and Hero may be overextending.
Yeah, a lot of Ghosts are coming out now, and they are nailing the snipes on top of all these Lurkers.
Yeah, they get all the snipes, all the Hydras get cleaned up as well. Again, Dark overstayed his welcome, and they're going to be forced all the way back. He's trying to rebuild as many of these Lurkers as possible. You love to see the token swarmers.
Yeah, you need at least one.
So hard to get bases on these.
But when it's all said and done, Dark was able to cause a lot of economic damage. I did notice, but Hero also had a couple of Zealot run-bys, and he was able to take out a lot of drones of Serral. Hero and Dark are in a much better economic position, and considering the layout of Polka, I think they should be able to defend a counterattack as well. The Lurkers of Dark get caught in the middle of the map. That's such an expensive loss at this point.
That was the majority of his Lurkers. That was half his Lurkers. We can see he only has 4 left. A massive misstep there from Dark. He was in the middle of going for a bit of Lurker harass at the 4th base of Oliveira, and he gets punished for it.
And now he's a little bit defenseless to deal with the counterattack from Serral, the counter harass from Serral. Team Oliveira catching up in the work account.
Yeah, they are catching up here. We do see Dark has to come all the way back home to defend. Looking at the units tab here, we do see pretty similar stories. Dark actually hasn't rebuilt any of his Vipers. He's relying on pure Hydra Lurker. And that's okay. That's kind of... he desperately needs an army, don't get me wrong, but he's going to have a lot less finesse here compared to the army of Serral.
Yeah, it's a lot more of a brute force army coming out from Dark, but what is more forceful and what is more brutal than a Nidus Worm?
There we go. Nidus is on the way for Dark as well to try and pull apart his opponent. Serral also goes for his own Nidus. We do see a bit of a preemptive scan there. Oh, Lurkers have been found, but they have a High Templar to support them.
That is a nightmare of AoE. I'm getting... what's the level above secondhand Smokelite? That is what I'm getting right now.
You're smudging. Like, what's above? You're just smudging, Papi. You're just smudging.
Huge pickup here for Oliveira, taking out half of Dark's attack force, pretty much. Half of Dark's entire army, actually.
Pretty much, mate. That was a very heavy commitment there from Dark. At the same time, the Niduses have finished up. We do see a little bit of Nidus harass over towards the right-hand side. Meanwhile, we see a scan for Serral to go for his own Nidus.
This is why Terran Zerg team-ups are so overpowered. There is nothing at home from Hero. I'm not even sure if he has energy for a recall.
Ooh, at the same time, the Vipers of Serral did just get feedback there, so they won't have that much energy to work with. But here we go. He goes for a massive unload in the main base of Hero.
As Dark tries to do whatever he can, tries to harass wherever he can as well. Great storm drops from Hero, connecting with just about the entire Bio army, but it looks like Oliveira has way too much. Hero's supply is plummeting.
Yeah, exactly. The storms were good, but there was nothing else as a follow-up. There was nothing but storms there, so Hero loses his army. He loses his fresh mining base. At the same time, the lurkers of Serral are getting out of control in the main base of Hero. He gets a lot of the production, but he will eventually be cleaned up.
Eventually, but not before dealing a lot of damage. Not before
Oh.
taking out a ton of Hydras before they go down.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we do see Oliveira now flexing his macro. He's maxed out 200 supply. He's going for a massive push through the center of the map, and there's not much to stop him.
Very nice.
Literally nothing to stop him, actually, yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 lurkers, which is okay, but with these scans, it looks like they're getting on. The army is going to be getting on top of these lurkers as a disruptor, but he has to wait a little bit longer for a Nova.
It's only 3 lurkers. What could go? That can't be too much. Well,
It's fine.
they were doing a lot of damage, but it wasn't anywhere near enough here. Team Oliveira will be taking game number 1.
GG, that was a very close game number 1 there. We saw that Hero and Dark worked up towards this major initial push. That was back when Hero had all those Phoenixes, if you remember. He dove in, he tried to CC those tanks, but the Phoenixes were cleaned up quite quickly. The tanks stood strong, and they were not able to break the defensive line of Serral and Oliveira. And from that point, we saw them get a lot of map control, and there was a lot of back and forth going on. There were a lot of mistakes being made as well. There were moments where Dark was losing his lurkers. There were moments where Dark was also overextending a couple of times as well. Oh boy, maybe just being a little bit too bloodlusted too often there.
That's what it usually is. And now, well, I was going to say Dragon Phoenix Gaming loses its first map, but yeah, I remember it last night happened. But still, I mean, being able to take the first map here from Dragon Phoenix Gaming, a team that was I would argue was favored throughout this entire tournament, and they did it in a standard macro game. It wasn't like Dark was off racing or anything like that.
Yeah.
This has got to be such a confidence boost here for Team Oliveira.
Exactly. It's got to feel really good if you are Serral and Oliveira to be coming in and taking the first game. There's still a long road ahead of them. There's still a lot more games to take. And I'm sure regardless of how this series goes, it's not going to be one-sided. It's not going to be a 4-0. But it's going to feel pretty good. And Hero and Dark have to go back to the drawing board a little bit. To be fair, Polka is the map that will most likely go the longest. You know, it is the most macro-oriented map out there with all the bases and all the choke points. From here, I do think that things are going to get a little bit more wild.
Yeah. That was a macro game, but only because Hero and Dark were forced to play a macro game. We're getting a little bit of a longer delay here, and I'm hoping that it's because Hero and Dark are trying to convince Oliveira to off-race.
Oh. We'll find out as we are going to be loading on in. Every time, Pikachu is never watching time. He's never watching the game. He's always looking at the wall.
And so you're dejected. We're now in Golden Kingdom. We're in the bottom left-hand corner. We got Serral. We got Oliveira. Put them together. Yes, Oliveira.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss hero alongside his teammate, the orange Zerg Dark. As together, they are DPG. DPG?
DPG? Or Hierarch.
There you go, there you go. There were some people asking you about the maps and how they haven't seen them before. Well, Polka was in the map pool back in the day. I think it was like 2017, 2018. It's been a couple of years since we have seen Polka in the 2v2 map pool. Meanwhile, Golden Kingdom, this map specifically, is a TLMC map. This has not seen the light of the ladder.
Yeah. So it's not LE yet.
There you go.
But yeah, I'm liking it. It's like a little bit of a racetrack going on there. Right in the middle. It's also another map that, just looking at it from the mini-map anyway, it looks like it's a long, winding rush distance, but I doubt that's the actual case.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. We're gonna have to whip out a ruler and measure the rush distance here, especially because it's not a ladder map pool. I don't know if that information is publicly available, but regardless, we are going to be getting into this, and we don't get enough of this because it's not a ladder map. It's not one of the ladder maps. This often gets vetoed.
Yeah. But no vetoes are the best of 9, and honestly, I'm a little bit surprised that we're seeing it so early in the series, but it could also just be one of those things where our players think, yeah, might as well get it out of the way at the start before either team really starts gaining any momentum.
Exactly. And now as we take a bit of a step back to have a look at the openers, we had a hatch gas pool from both Zerg players. We do see Dark going for Ling Speed and going for his Baneling Nest. Serral is holding onto his gas, and we see why. Serral is going for 2 base lair. Call it, Yaku. Is it Swarm Host or is it Muta?
Muta! Gonna be zooming on this map.
Let's see. We do have a Roach Warren thrown down from Serral, so it could still be a Nidus, but it could be with Roaches. We'll see. We'll see if he actually makes use of that Roach Warren in the end. Meanwhile, Oliveira, just like every game, he's just going 2-1-1.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't break it.
True. Serral is going to be losing his first Overlord across the map, so if he did want to go for Nidus play, he's going to be losing some of that map control, and he's going to be losing some of that map vision. Meanwhile, the lair is about to finish up, and our eyes are peeled right now for what tech Serral is going to commit to.
Staring over there as we actually see a Galal Reconstitution.
He's going for a Roach all-in.
Serral. Interesting choice here. And meanwhile, on the other side of this, Hero is getting a Robo facility fairly early on, not getting any Phoenixes this time. If Dark or Hero are able to scout this that's a very greedy 4th coming out from Dark. What is going on?
I don't know if you noticed, but Dark, he got Link Speed, but he hasn't been making any units. He just got his 4th and his 5th, and now he's going double Evo Chamber. Dark is being as greedy as possible. This is an ideal scenario for Serral and Oliveira. They're going to be hitting a very strong timing here soon, but if they don't deal enough damage, if they aren't able to cripple the economy, then Dark and Hero are going to be in such a good position.
They really will be. And while Dark is looking a little bit more vulnerable here, just with how greedy he's been, Hero, I definitely think Hero can carry a little bit of extra weight here.
And what's important is that the Watchtower was under the control of Dark, so they know the army's coming. Dark is making links. He's making 2 Spine Crawlers. They are fully aware of the 2-base all-in that's coming their way, and all they have to do is defend.
But will they be able to is going to be the big question here. A couple of Banelings will get sniped before they can hatch, and Stim did finish up for Oliveira. Just simming on forward, taking out every single Baneling, and this game might be done.
There we go. Dark is forced to cancel his 5th base. He loses his 4th as well. The Banelings will not finish. But Serral and Oliveira, they have to make sure they don't waste their time here. They don't want to chase down those Stalkers. There we go. They turn back around. They are on a timer. They have to push up this ramp. We see a scan to make sure they don't run into any Banelings.
Yeah, but they aren't going to be running into any Banelings.
Yeah, the Roaches are here to soak up those Banelings. They're trying to get on top of the Marines, but no, every Baneling's going to go down. There are still 4 more.
But they don't really have a way to get on top of these Marines. Hero doing whatever he can to try to sandwich them. But stimmed Marines against Stalkers, it's not the best thing you want to face as a Protoss player.
Mate, the army is pretty overstimmed. All these Marines are going to be going down here. He's trying to target fire whatever workers he can, but Hero and Dark have held.
They have, but at the same time, I feel like Dark's, whatever advantage Dark was getting earlier on, has been nullified. I mean, now he's trying to remake a 3rd?
Yeah, I think it's pretty fine.
Yeah, but the big differentiating factor is the fact that Hero has a massive army. Hero has a lot of Blink Stalkers right now. He's going for a massive counterattack. Serral and Oliveira themselves are even acknowledging there are so many Stalkers. They know that they cannot defend the 3rd base of Serral. It all comes down to the natural.
Yeah, they're even ignoring that 3rd hatchery of Serral right now, just pushing on forward into the natural bases of both of them. Handful of Marines here. Are they going to be enough to defend?
We'll see. I mean, it looks like Dark's army gets cleaned up. They're taking control of the high ground.
And just like that,
think we chase.
Oliveira will
kill
be
my
pushing
base?
away.
Do you think
Will
we
be
can
pushing
save my
away the
base?
stalkers.
Yeah, sure.
No.
Trying to
I don't
save
think
that
we can.
base, but Serral gives up on it.
He's talking about his northern base. So far, the hatchery is alive, but it looks like, yeah, they are being cut away from it. They cannot get on top of it.
There's
We
this-
do see they're trying to fight for it. We do see them on towards the low ground, but the Lings, they get us around. Up.
Yeah, so pretty good starter stepping coming out from Oliveira. Surprisingly, the hatch will survive, but we do have a very quick warp in of a couple more stalkers here. There is a tank, but it's looking mighty exposed. Blink on fort will deal with that, and this zealots are acting as such a good buffer right now for these stalkers.
Oh, the medevac micro, the drop play coming in as well, trying to save the Marauders with what little HP they have, and with the drop play, with the reinforcements, once again they force Hero back.
Wow. Not only will they force Hero back, but they will save that third base of Serral.
But here he actually comes back around, and the hatchery is going to fall. Serral is knocked down to 2 bases. Dark double expanded behind this, and he's also got 1-1 Lings, as his Lings have just been tearing them apart. Oh, Serral and Oliveira, this is what happens when your 2-base all-in doesn't work. You know, they committed very hard to that big push, and it just didn't do enough damage. Oh, but they're catching a lot of stalkers here, actually.
Yeah, that's huge. That's basically the vast majority, the entire army, actually,
Maybe
of
you'll be
Hero.
there, though.
But Dark's coming in for a full wraparound, will be taking out
How
that
long do you
base
think we
once
wait before
again.
we go?
Oliveira down to 2 bases
I
once
think
more.
maybe
Dark,
maybe-
he's got
maybe-
4 bases. Hero, surprisingly,
Coming
only
more?
on 2 bases throughout this
Okay,
entire time. Throughout this
That's
entire
I defend there, I defend
map so
natural, I
far.
defend natural. I think they might blink in main. So
Yeah,
I
it
go main.
looks like
You there, you there.
Yeah, he's going. He's going.
it looks like Serral wants to be the one to
Chaos.
defend, and he wants to pressure Oliveira to go
I
for a
wait
bit
for
of a
him.
counterattack to punish their greed. We'll see if they're going to be able to pull it off. Here we go. We see the blink on into the main base. Serral is in position to
I think
deny
we have
this.
teammate roads, and we can go.
Yeah,
Hero
I'm only making
will be
roads.
forced to blink
Nothing
away.
else. Okay.
The Oliveira questioning the unit composition of Serral for a split second, but it's working out.
Well, yeah, Serral's all in. Like, he's just making nothing but roaches right now. He wants to go for an attack, but the Prism of Hero just keeps going back into the main base. He keeps forcing supply back at home, and we'll see if Oliveira has enough. You can see the massive blue blob moving through the minimap. We do see that Oliveira has a lot of supply to work with, the highest out of any player right now.
Yeah, it's tanks and bio with medevac support.
Oh no!
Bio with medevac support! The Colossus will get sniped. Very, very exposed. And now, Oliveira has gained a little bit of a foothold. The tanks have been taken out, but I think a lot of... but I think the trade was efficient enough that Serral's roaches are starting to push on forward. Hero is now down to 2 bases once again.
It's quite close. Like, the Banelings were insane. Oliveira lost the majority of his army to those Banelings that morphed in his face. So it was quite a costly trade. But here we go. Serral is breaking in towards the natural Banelings that are being morphed in. Dark needs a little bit more time. Here they go.
It's a bit more time, and he needs to find an opening. These roaches are doing such a good job body blocking. Another Colossus is out now, though. And Dark is coming in from the back for a full surround. Once again, Serral and Oliveira are all in. If Dark and Hero survive this, they're going to be in such a good position, and they've survived.
Yeah, Serral and Oliveira, they're forced back, but even though they're forced back, they can take down these hatcheries. The hatcheries are quite exposed. If they can get both of these mining hatcheries of Dark, they can still draw this game out. We do see the armies of Hero and Dark are trying to push down this ramp, down this choke point into tank fire.
And that is never a good idea. That 3rd and 4th base of Dark are completely forfeit.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way for him to hold on to them. The 4th at least falls. The 5th is... the 3rd at least falls. The 4th is still alive, but again, completely isolated. And yeah, Dark, he just evacuates. He knows that it's a lost cause.
Yeah, he's going to have to find some other use for all of those drones.
We see the stim on forward, but the Banelings finish just in time. Once again, we have a disruptor as well. A lot of Baneling connections are going to be going off here, but the Marauders do survive. They're trying to stim on forward. They're trying to get on top of the Colossi.
And most importantly, the tanks are still alive. And they're still chipping away at this Protoss army. It's 1 Disruptor and 1 Colossus left in this defense, and that is nowhere near enough. Dark has not only lost his economy, he's also lost his production.
Yeah, he really has. And here we go. Oliveira with the bio is pushing on through. We have a couple of roaches to support as well. He's trying to dive on top of the Colossus. We have an overcharge to keep it alive, but it's not enough.
The Colossus will go down. The Purification Nova, or the Disruptor did come off cooldown, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough. GG is called, and Oliveira will take game number 2 off the back of some brilliant decision-making.
Oh, that was so close, by the way. Like, there was so much pressure on Serral and Oliveira just because their economy was in shambles from the beginning. When the first push didn't work, then they had to barely hold on against the counterattack as well as they did, and then they had to commit for a second push as well. There was so much pressure and so much tension on them, but they were just able to pull it off. Oh my god.
Just about, yeah.
Ugh.
Once again, it's the difference between a team that doesn't buckle under pressure and a team that, well, I wouldn't say they buckled, that Hero and Dark buckled under pressure as well, but, you know, they definitely didn't have as good of a response to the aggression of Oliveira compared to Oliveira having not the best response, but a good enough response to the aggression of Hero and Dark.
Yeah, I think honestly a lot of the power behind the second push came down to Oliveira actually getting his third base up and running. I think he's the only player in the game to be able to establish his third CC on location and get it fully saturated. And after that happened, like, it just boosted his production so much. He was able to get a large enough biotank army, even though he took a lot of banelings to the face. And even though that looked a little bit dire, like, he still had enough left over to keep on pushing, to keep the pressure up, and to eventually snowball. Serral could support, of course, with roaches, but again, like, the fact that we had enough tanks, that we had enough marauders as well, was, I feel like, the linchpin there for their team. Yeah, it was quite fortunate that they were able to get that base up and running, and unfortunately, Hero and Dark weren't able to deny it.
Yeah. I mean, not for lack of trying. I mean, we could see that when Oliveira went all in with those roaches, those tanks, and that bioforce, Dark had a decision to make. It was either turn around with all of his lings and try to support Hero, or try to go or commit to his counterattack, which was the choice he ended up making. But he wasn't really able to cripple Oliveira. He was able to deal a lot of economic damage to Serral, not so much for Oliveira, and at the end of the day, Hero was fighting a 1v2. And that usually works out for him. It's worked out well for him throughout this tournament, but not against Serral and Oliveira.
Yeah, exactly, mate. You gotta take him 2 at a time. You gotta step up with your partner. But in the top left-hand corner, we have the players leading this series. We have Serral and Oliveira up 2-0. Oliveira.
And over here in the bottom right, we got Hero, we got Dark. Let's put them together, they are Herc. DPG.
And now we're returning to a ladder that I'm sure everyone that plays 2v2 should be familiar with here. We are going into Emerald City, a very old school, very long-standing 2v2 map.
Very long-standing. I remember this from back in 2016.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time, Papi, a long time. Oh boy, but we'll see where things go. For the time being, the Zerg players are both going for hatch gas pools, so very standard openers all around from every single player.
Which they may as well. It's been about 8 years since this map has been in the map pool, and in that time, just about every player has been able to figure out the tricks of it.
Oh yeah, exactly. So some of the big kind of features of Emerald City is the fact that the rush distance is quite small, but the main and the natural bases are shared. There are 2 entrances to the natural, but regardless, it's typically a bad idea to be hyper aggressive on this map off of 1 base play. 2 base pushes can still find some success, so we'll see how things go. Again, I think I was at least a little bit surprised to see that it was Serral, it was Team Oliveira just committing to the all-in, you know, really showing that they're not just good at the macro, but they're also quite keen to go for these timing attacks and go for all these all-ins.
They know who they're up against. They just want to deny the late game Protoss. at all costs.
Exactly. So, yeah, still Oliveira are showing to be quite flexible in their play styles. But we'll see how this all kind of leads. Once again, 2-1-1 from Oliveira. Hero is switching up his opener, though.
Yes. Wait, is that a second? No, it's way too early for a second Stargate. It is a Stargate once again being thrown down from Hero, but we'll see if he commits to the Phoenixes like he did on Bolska, or if he goes into more of an Oracle style this time.
Yeah, we'll see what he wants to go for. Again, Phoenix play is quite popular and quite common in 2v2s just because of how much support the unit can really bring and how much map control it can give you as well. So we'll see if Hero embraces the D-Gen Protosses out there and even commits to a second Stargate. For the time being, only one.
You know, if you want to go full D-Gen as a Protoss player, 2v2 is a game mode where Mass Void Race at the start is still sees quite a bit of play.
Yeah, you know, it's possible. It's possible. For now, just Phoenix production is continuing here. Meanwhile, we see a bit of a faster lair for Serral. He could be looking to go for another Roach speed timing, as he does have a Roach Warren on the way. So very similar to game number 2 to the previous game. Meanwhile, Hero gets in and he's able to scout and confirm the timing of the lair.
Yeah, he knows that they're gonna have to either deal with mutas or with swarm hosts coming down. Either way, Hero's gonna have to be a little bit more vigilant with his Phoenixes, taking out mutas or taking out overlords or taking out drops.
Yeah, what's important is that he was able to confirm the Roach Warren, and there we go, Roach speed is on the way. I do think that Serral wants to hit once again with Roaches, and he's going to be able to hit harder on this map. I also feel like Phoenixes are going to have less to support. Like, Phoenixes against Bio and Roaches, they're not the most useful unit here. I'm keeping an eye on the drone count overall. Is Serral going to continue droning, or is he just going to make nothing but Roaches?
They can kill Medivacs, I guess. Yeah, we're keeping our eyes glued on that production tab. Hero throws on a Robo Bay, so he's not committing too hard into the Phoenixes, which is absolutely the right call to make.
Yep, he's transitioning out of Phoenix production. He's a little bit supply blocked here, but he is going to be starting Disruptor soon. Meanwhile, here we go. The 2-1-1 of Oliveira is coming to fruition. He's going for his double drop. Meanwhile, Serral hasn't droned for a long time. He's committed to 44 drones, and he's just going for Mass Roach. We see a third base on the way, but again, I believe the third is only for Larva.
Yeah, all signs point to that. But once again, it seems like Hero and Dark have read the situation a little bit better this time, and they should be in a better position to defend. A lot of Overlords are ripe for the picking.
Yeah, they are pulled back.
Enemy when you're ready.
Oh, I don't know if I
Wait,
like
one
this.
second,
We
go.
don't see a Disruptor. We
already
see
ready.
Colossi coming out from Hero.
Okay.
Well,
But I
I guess he's relying a bit
Maybe
more
I
on
kill these
Dark
rocks and then we go
to deal
after.
with the to be able to deal with the roaches coming out here from Serral.
Maybe
I mean,
Phoenix is
Hero
killing
has been able to dive in. I don't
Phoenix
think
gonna kill my
he.
unit.
I mean, he's definitely seen all of these roaches.
Oliveira's in a really rough position. He's forced to pick up the Phoenixes. They dive for those Medivacs, but oh, it looks like the Medivacs are barely going to be saved. That was a really unfortunate and awkward kind of happenstance
strong
there
push
for the
there.
army, and he was out of position, but doesn't get punished for it.
Not quite yet, but he may get punished
Yeah, I think
with
we have very
the
good timing here.
if the Colossus
Very
come
good
out.
timing, I
You know, I'm still with your light.
Process
I
nothing.
think that it's a
Except for
little bit of a
Phoenix.
questionable
Well, not much.
move for Hero to go for Colossus,
Okay,
but
Colossus? Okay,
if Dark
okay,
is
that's
able to
hard.
distract the
I think so.
roaches, the Zerg army long enough, and the Colossus get a couple of volleys off on the Marines, then I think Team Herc is going to be in a better position.
Oh, definitely. Here we go. The one Colossi is pushing on forward. The hatchery is going to go down here. It looks like Oliveira doesn't really want to commit to a fight. He does have a tank.
And it is shelling away in the back line. Very, very smartly hidden behind the shrubbery. The
Nice.
Phoenixes cannot get on
Maybe
top of
kill
that tank.
Prospace now? Do you think we can kill Prospace next?
I don't think
Colossus
So. Yes.
are doing I just haven't been able to be utilized.
Yeah.
Serral's doing such a good job of zoning them away with his roaches.
And here we go. The Bio Army just rotate over. It does force a cancel of the third base of Hero. That one Colossi. Now a second Colossi is pushing on forward. The tank is going to be going down. And with the death of that tank, it looks like Serral and Oliveira are being forced back.
Yeah,
Yeah, but how much damage have they been able to do as they retreat?
back
They've
there.
killed the base of Hero. They've killed the base of Dark, which I think is more important base to take out. And now they're expanding. They're getting their third bases. Actually, they finished getting their third bases. They're just working on saturating them.
Yeah, they just have to defend against the counterattack, and with 2 tanks, I think they will have more than enough to hold on here. So this timing from Serral and Oliveira did work beautifully, and they are now safe at home with their bases.
Whew. And once again, this is one of the big features of Emerald City. Very, very choke point heavy map. Just 2 tanks will secure this opening. Got a couple more, and you've basically secured your entire. You basically secured your entire.
Hero and Dark. It looks like they want to try and break this position. It looks like they've recognized how far behind they are. The Phoenixes are coming in from the left-hand side. They're going to try and pick off what little Marines they can. The Colossi swiping away as well. And if at any moment they see weakness, they will commit. But no, they back off.
Yeah, I think they've realized that many players have tried to break this position on Emerald City. Very few of them have succeeded. Now they're going to have to try to catch up as best they can.
Yeah, they're going to try and drone. Hero is double expanding, by the way. He's taking the gold base behind this. It's definitely a great way to come back. He still has a very, very formidable Phoenix count as well, a very respectable Phoenix count, so he's going to be able to keep the armies back at home. The Marines are trying to keep up here. Looks like the Phoenixes won't be able to get too many worker kills.
Yeah, the Marines are in position. A couple of very well-placed turrets from Oliveira will put the end to that as well.
Oh, exactly. And once again, Serral's composition of choice. We have the Hive on the way. He wants to get into Viper play, and Vipers are a great way, just like Polka, are a great way to deal with those Colossi as well, if he can keep his economy intact when he gets there.
Yeah, Hero, he's not making any more Phoenixes, but he wants to make use of the Phoenixes that he does have. And getting a couple of workers here and there is definitely a great way to utilize them.
Yeah, and Hero, he is embracing the Protoss inside him because we have a second Stargate on the way, we have +1 air attack, and we have a fleet beacon as well. Hero is transitioning into Skytoss.
Like so. That's the key to winning team games.
That's
I'm glad that Hero has realized them.
Yeah. The scan is on the Zerg player, not the Protoss, so the fleet beacon was missed. Carriers are now on the way. We will have Vipers, which will help, but at the moment, Serral doesn't have any anti-air. He doesn't have a Hydroden, he doesn't have a Spire.
Who needs anti-air, though, when your partner has man with gun?
It's true.
But maybe dark situation on the patch.
It's very true. I'm just worried that they're going to be caught by surprise here. I mean, Serral and Oliveira, they're close to maxing out. They are going to push out first, and it's possible that when they do move out, they're going to be able to deal enough damage and also scout the transition in time to be able to react as well.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for here anyway. Just planning their assault, and yep, they're very close to maxing out. They're looking to get in. It's a bad angle, though.
We do see a scam. We do have confirmation of the Colossi and the Disruptors. Again, that's where the Vipers come into play. The tanks are getting into a decent position here to lay siege upon that high ground. The Vipers have to be very careful. They have to make sure they avoid those Phoenixes.
And they have been able to avoid them for now.
But the carrot.
Decent pair of bombs coming out from Serral, but once again, there's just no anti-air in this position. The Vipers are very, very vulnerable to those Phoenixes. Dark tried to go for a counterattack, but Serral catches him.
Yeah, so who gets caught, though? It looks like Serral loses a couple too many of those roaches. It looks like we're seeing a TVP towards the south and a ZVZ up here. The Phoenixes have a little bit too much to support, though, and Serral's having a hard time.
Yeah, having a very, very hard time here. Oliveira is forced to back up and support Hero and support Serral and keep him alive. One Colossus goes down, and the Phoenixes are looking mighty low.
Yeah, it looks like both Dark and Serral kind of deflected against each other, but Oliveira was able to get that Nexus.
Huge pick-off here. The carriers are now out for Hero, though. But without an economy to make interceptors, I guess it doesn't mean much.
Yeah, we have a Hydra Den on the... Oh my god, on the way! We do have the Fungal and the Vipers! And in come those Phoenixes.
Picking off just about every single one of them. The Marines are not in position to support this.
Yeah. Viper.
Serral loses all but one of his Vipers, but a mass Doom Drop is coming in, and the Phoenixes are not in position. They're not alive either.
Do we have a recall? We don't see a recall. Oh my god, Hero, he missed the Doom Drop. Oliveira, he goes for a massive play here. Is it going to work out for him? He has to be careful because he's very committed to this fight. The carriers will stop him, and the Phoenixes will stop him from leaving.
Yeah, they really will. And Oliveira hasn't really been able to deal enough infrastructure damage. I mean, those Stargates were looking pretty exposed, but thankfully Dark was split off a couple of his forces to defend that. Hero may not have had a recall, but his carriers weren't too far away either.
That Doom Drop was not worth it. Oh my god, Oliveira lost 50 supply there. He's forced to back off. Likewise, Serral wasn't able to deal enough economic damage either. The hatcheries all survived, and now Hero counterattacks with Mass Carrier.
Yeah, they're coming.
It was almost worth it, but almost doesn't count. It's either it was worth it or it wasn't here, and now we see why it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, we have Hydras now for Serral, Hydra Ravager. We just see the Vipers coming in with a couple of power bombs on those carriers. The Marines are steaming on forward. Novas are going to be able to zone away the army. Do end up getting, oh my god, the Fungal connects as well.
Yeah, those are some decent biles from Serral. I like Oliveira fighting in the choke point, but in the end, it looks like Team Herc has way too much army.
Yeah, again, the Doom Drop sealed the deal, sealed Oliveira's fate, unfortunately not in his favor as the carrier army just blazes on through.
GG is called, and Hero and Dark will be able to put a point on the board.
GG, oh my god. Again, the carriers were scouted relatively late, and the longer the game went on, the better it was going to be for Hero because the carrier count would just get higher and higher and higher. Unfortunately, Serral and Oliveira were trying to go for a bit of a kill move there. A very risky play, a massive gamble to go for the Doom Drop that way. Didn't work out in the end.
Now, I know there were a lot of factors at play in that game, but so far, the only game where Hero went carriers is the only game that DPG won.
True. So what you're saying is he has to keep making carries.
It feeds into my theory that team games are won off the back of Skytoss.
You're not wrong. It can be quite good, and unfortunately, because of Serral's composition, because he usually goes Roach Viper, he typically doesn't have a lot of anti-air to help support against those carriers. His transition to Hydras was quite late as a result, and he had a hard time supporting Oliveira in his journey to try and fight against those interceptors. So quite a rough game number 3 there. Again, Hero finding what works, and we'll see if we see more of that in this series.
Yeah, that we shall. For a split second in my brain, I thought you said Oliveira finds out what works, and I was going to be like, yeah, if he goes for another Doom Drop, then it's not going to work out well for him, but hey, you were talking about Hero there.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to be fighting back. We're not going to have a 4-0. We are going to have a more back and forth grand finals, and Hero and Dark now have a little bit of momentum going their way. Can they keep it up? Can they keep on pushing through? We'll find out as we are loading into Overgrown Facility, one of the most popular maps to go for very early aggression.
Oh yeah, it is. More so than any other map in 2v2, maybe any other map in team games, period, where the starting bases are so isolated from one another.
Exactly. We see a lot of 13-12s here. We see a lot of one base all-ins on Overgrown Facility. Are we going to see that again? Are we going to see that from both players?
I would love to see that. I would love to see Hero go. I would love to see Dark go straight for Oliveira as Serral goes straight for Hero, and then essentially have a 1v1 at the end there. But it's definitely going to be a little bit tricky. I mean, we talk about the bases being isolated from one another, but as long as Oliveira, if he continues to go for 2-on-1, and if he's able to get tanks out a little bit quicker, I think that Team Salivera should have a better defense than compared to what Hero and Dark will be able to pull off.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult because I think Hellions are probably critical to defend early on, especially if we're talking about like a 13-12. Like the hardest thing about this is because we're so isolated from each other. These teammates are gonna have such a hard time supporting each other, depending on who gets targeted, and we'll see how this all goes here as we are loading into game number 4 on Overgrown Facility. And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the teal Zerg player Serral alongside his teammate, the blue Terran Oliveira, representing Team Oliveira.
And over here in the top right-hand corner, we have our orange Protoss player Hero. We have our red Zerg player Dark. Put them together, they are the orange-red Herc.
Oh, here we go. DPG.
GG.
And this time, I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you were watching. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. The cameras.
Definitely watching.
The cameras for Hero and Dark are now in respectable places. If you remember, it was a couple of days ago where Dark, his forehead was just out of frame, and Hero was like in a corner of his own webcam. It was the proportions were out of whack.
Yeah, they balance each other out though.
True.
When the proportions are out of whack, but now that they're both respectable, yeah, it's balanced again, but at what cost? At the very least, Hero, the sun is still shining on him. Dark, still cloaked in the shadows.
Oh, there you go. Cloaked in shadow. And we see something that we haven't seen yet in Overgrown Facility this entire tournament. Usually we see early game aggression, but we see very standard openers from everyone. No one is pulling the trigger too soon.
Huh. It's unheard of.
Actually unheard of. So very interesting decision making here from all of our players. They want to play a more standard straight up game. And our first point of divergence is Hero going for a very fast Stargate.
Yeah, wait, what?
That's a gigafast Stargate.
Right,
so it's a one base.
Yeah, it's a one base Stargate coming out here. When you said point of divergence, I was confused for a sec, because I was like, wait, but there's no Protoss on Oliveira.
Oh. Not yet, Papi, not yet. But yeah, this is just an insanely fast Stargate. So I imagine we're going to be seeing an Oracle first. It isn't a proxy, bear that in mind. It is at home, but it will be able to zoom across. Oh, he's actually going Phoenix. He's going for a Phoenix opener. Oh, he's doing a thing. They're going for one base all in.
Yep.
Oh.
They weren't giga aggressive, but they are going to be aggressive now. Hero going to be coming in with his Phoenixes, just trying to do whatever he can to support the Lings and Banes coming out from Dark.
Here we go. So Hero, he's going to be looking to CC some high-tech units like Queens, like Marauders, like Marines, whatever he can get his hands on. Those Phoenixes are going to try and support Dark in his adventures for the Ling Bane all in. Here we go. The Flood is coming across the map. Dark has cut workers at 20. And Serral and Oliveira, I don't think they've been able to piece it together. Serral is in the middle of taking a third base.
I don't think they've been able to piece it together at all. This Reaper is diving in and does see a bunch of Lings making their way across the map. That is a huge tell, but is it enough of a tell? Serral is morphing in 4 Banelings, but they can very easily be lifted by the Phoenixes.
Yeah, but we have 4 queens. 4 queens to defend, and here we go. They decide to go for Oliveira instead. The wall is no longer a wall. It gets busted on down. The Lings and the Adepts are coming on in, and this is the danger of this map. The queens cannot support this because they're slow. They cannot go off creep.
Yeah, they really can. We have a Cyclone coming out now, but it does immediately get lifted. Even if Oliveira tries to fight with his SCVs, tries to fight these Lings with his SCVs, the Adepts are still here, and they have completely wiped out the mineral line of Oliveira. Serral slowly is walking his queens to that base, but Oliveira has no bunker, as Serral is pointing out.
Yeah. I mean, Oliveira was smudging because he's dead. Serral was like, yo, you could have made a bunker, which is true. Oliveira didn't have a bunker in time. He's lost almost every single worker. We do see that Serral has a little bit of hope, but the Ling Flood continues to come in.
Yeah. Try to imagine that. When Serral is the one who has hope.
Phoenix kill all my
Yeah,
Bailings.
he's got the Herpium, but the Phoenixes are just shutting down the Bailings. The Lings once again get into the mineral line as well.
You think
Serral
so?
is trying desperately
I
to
think it's
keep
maybe okay.
his
You have three
teammate
mining.
alive. He
Oh,
can share his
maybe I need to
resources. He
combine it.
wants Oliveira to
let's play.
stay. He's like, don't
Let's
leave
play
me,
one
puppy.
base,
Don't leave. Stay with me.
Bonus?
We can
Bro,
still
that's
win
one base.
this!
I think he has 3k.
But not if I'm 1v2.
We can win,
I got news
puppy.
for you,
Yeah,
Serral. You're
Phoenix are
1v2ing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is still 1v2.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Serral is coming to terms with reality right now. He's like, nah, yeah, maybe. we
5
did."
stages were at play here
Yeah.
Yeah.
for Serral. First denial. It's like, no, we can still win this. Then
GG.
bargaining. No, it's still fine. I have Lings. And depression, and anger, and finally, he's accepted it, and GG is called. Dragon Phoenix Gaming is able to tie up the series 2-2 with a very, very well thought out, strategy on this map.
Mhm. Yeah, GG. We were talking about it before, like one base all ins, and these rushes are so common on Overgrown Facility. We've seen it every single game so far, which is why I was shocked that Serral and Oliveira were playing as standard as they were. And there was maybe a chance for them to defend, as Serral was saying. You know, maybe we could have, if Oliveira had thrown down a couple of bunkers, maybe he would have been able to hold on. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite that prepared, and yeah, it's very easy to just target one player on that map.
Yeah, it really feels like if you're going to be playing it, if you want to play a macro game on Overgrown Facility, then you have to open up extremely, extremely safe.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, well, you just get hurked on.
Yeah. You just get hurked on, and here we go. We are tied up 2-2. Oh boy, this can go either way here. Any one of these teams can take a lead in this series. Game number 5 is going to be on Reclamation.
Yeah, another map which, to my memory, I mean, yeah, not a lot to go off from the screenshot, but to my memory is also another map that has where the bases are a little bit more isolated.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think this was a map we saw when Team Ratless last night went Ling Stalker against Serral and Oliveira. They took out Serral first, and then Oliveira tried to go for a counterattack and didn't quite work. But while that was going on, we also kind of saw the power of tanks when it came to defending. I mean, the tanks, when they were sieged up, were essentially able to zone out any other unit from getting in. It's just a little unfortunate that by that point, when the tanks were out, Lings were already messing up Serral's main base.
Yeah, I think this is the map where time typically goes for a 1-1-1 instead, just for that tank production. So we'll see kind of if he can pull that off here. The bases aren't anywhere near as isolated as Overgrown Facility, which is what we just saw, but they are still, you know, on their own, and it can still be quite difficult to defend each other. A little bit easier to defend, but still difficult nonetheless. So I do kind of favor the aggressors still, and Hero and Dark, they are more than willing to be those aggressors.
Yeah, it almost feels like they have to be those aggressors. Again, they just don't want to play the late game, which is kind of weird because, again, Hero is the only Protoss player in this matchup. If anything, the late game should go to DPG.
Yeah, they just want to win games quicker, and
Nice.
it works out for them more often than not. You know, that's how they've been. They have that killer instinct when they do smell a little bit of weakness, when they do smell fear, they go for it and they go for the kill, and just like that, you know, they've been able to come back in this series. But we'll see if they can do it again. We'll see if Serral and Oliveira can adapt. They are given a little bit of time here to just go over this loss and go over the matches themselves and try and figure out how they want to approach Game 5.
Yeah, they have this time to smooge a little bit, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I.
Get that out of their system while they can.
Yeah, it's always brutal in these 2v2s when you have like one teammate that's just dying horribly and the other was left alone. So like, no, it's okay, we can still do this. You know, I'm okay, I'm fine. And the team was like, I'm dying, Buff. I have nothing.
You're telling me. You're telling me.
Yeah, it can be a really awkward position to be in, and Yeah, we saw Oliveira just stay in that game a little bit longer, maybe hoping that they can try and get some momentum. But Hero and Dark, they were relentless.
Yeah. There was no momentum to be had when you had Graviton.
Yeah.
That's physics. Coming up here. There's no momentum in the air, I think.
What?
Yeah, because in the air there's like no gravity. Or no, it's
I was like, what are you saying
also,
right now?
I think about it. In space, there's the most momentum because there's no friction.
Yeah, there's no friction, so you send something going, and mate, it's gonna keep going. It's not gonna stop, mate. It's nothing but momentum, puppy.
Now you see why I failed physics back in high school.
Aye. Regardless. Oh boy, it looks like we did ask for a little bit of a break here. Just to confirm, yes, they just did ask for a little bit of a break. But they just need a little bit of time here to gather their thoughts for the next game. What do you want to see here on Reclamation? What do you want to see at Yaku?
On Reclamation, okay, so the bases are a little bit more spread out. I would like to see Hellions.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't think it's like there's something about the map that will make Hellions work out better. But I guess I'm just craving Hellions after
I just haven't seen
was
them.
able to pull off last night.
Yeah, we just haven't seen them, mate. All night. We saw them yesterday. We saw Dark win with pure Hellion. I say it was 5 Hellions. It was really 2 Hellions.
We had a Viking come in at the end.
The Viking come in, sure. Oh boy. I guess
what I would really like to see on this map is an off race.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Like, it's something that Hero and Dark were more than willing to do. And you could argue that, like, maybe they were just, like, really, and I do think they were just really confident against Zaun and Ragnarok. I think they were just, like, feeling pretty good about that series, and they were more than willing to off-race. I don't know if they want to do that against Serral and Oliveira, though, especially with how the series started. I think any kind of cockiness that DPG once had is gone.
Yeah, they have to take this a lot more seriously. Maybe I want to imagine they had it on the cards with them, but after the O2, that wasn't available anymore. And regardless, we're getting in here. In the bottom left, right-hand corner, we got Yona, we got Peinan. Put it together, you got Yunnan.
What? And in the top left-hand corner, we have Dark alongside Hero representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. As we are getting here into game number 5, here we are to find out which player is going to be able to take a lead in this series, and Hero goes for a 2-gate opener.
Yeah. Once again, not stalling at all when it comes to the aggression, and again, this is a pretty good map to be aggressive on, and we can just see it on the main map over here, just how much distance there is between the main bases. I mean, one base is the distance between the two bases. And that's quite a lot in the early game.
It is quite a lot here. So I am going to be keeping my eye on Dark to see how much he drones, to see if he pulls out of gas and stops at 100, or if he continues mining gas to get a Baneling nest, because I wouldn't be surprised if they commit to aggression. But we do see Dark actually pulling out here, so very efficiently. He only has that link speed to work with. It looks like he wants the macro.
What?
Yeah. He's taking the third.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing, and I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Dark wants to be the player that macros.
Here we go. He is going to be delayed here, so he's going to be forced to make some more of these up. Some more of these lings. We do see that the Reaper did just get juked, and the drone is saved.
For now, yeah, Sarkis are going to come in and fully save that drone. I feel like being turned into an extractor that isn't needed is a fate worse than death if you're a drone.
Maybe. As Dark behind this, he has a third hat trick, but I think he may be faking because he's making links. He may not have a Baneling Nest, he may not have any gas to work with, but he's going for a Link Flood.
Yeah, the production third. So it's a very important base to get. Nice little bit of micro coming out here from Hero. He will be able to deny that bunker from coming up, and that is actually a huge, a very huge pick-off at the start.
Yeah, and here we go. The Lings are flooding across the map, by the way. We do have a Baneling Nest finishing up here for Serral. The Banelings are on the way, but they only just now started.
And Dark asking himself, theorizing, can I take out those Banelings before they hatch? Doesn't want to risk it in the end. Thankfully, Oliveira, was able to buy enough time to get a tank out. And he should be safe, but he can't really support Serral from the high ground.
That's the thing, you know, now they can focus on Serral instead, then the tank is close enough to help a little bit, but the Banelings have to be very careful for Serral. He has to keep them in the backline. Marines are pushing on forward, and here we go. Hero and Dark now diverge their attention over towards Oliveira, and you can argue maybe they were a little bit indecisive. They didn't know what they wanted. I
think they were definitely indecisive there. I mean, understandable for Dark, you know, he was in a little bit of a rock and a hard place there. He has to retreat when he sees the Banelings. But Hero, I mean, I feel like he could have tried to snipe the Banelings. Instead, he was kind of dancing back and forth between the Marines and tanks of Oliveira and the Queens and the Zerglings of Serral.
Yeah, and that was very close, by the way. I think very easily Serral or Oliveira could have been broken there, so they were able to hold fast, they were able to defend and expand here, and now they're in a pretty good position. We do see all players focusing on their economies. Dark desperately trying to drone up, but he is lacking a little bit in the tech. He's lacking that Baneling Nest if we did come down to Ling Bane Wars, and he's trying to recover here. He at least has that third hatchery to fall back on.
Yeah. And he wasn't planning on saturating it, but since it's up, since it's available, he might as well start to drone up a little bit here. Roach Warren is going to be the transition here from Dark. Hero taking a very early forge.
Oh, very early indeed to get into that +1. So he's looking to go into Mass Blink Stalkers. We still have a large Ling force out on the map here from the early game. So Dark is just kind of threatening, just going to try and poke and prod at whatever third base gets taken here. So we're going to be entering a bit of a lull period. There's still opportunity for aggression or at least pressure. But for the most part, the hectic portion of the game has subsided. And now we can focus on our economies.
Yeah, which is not a stage that I thought we were going to get into on Reclamation. But it is how this gameplay panned out.
Oh, definitely. And now Serral is going to be able to get his own third base. He's a little bit behind, of course, in his third base timing, but he's going to be able to get it up nonetheless. Oliveira going for a fast third CC as well, is going to be looking to take his own third. So everyone's just focusing on their macro for the time being. Oliveira transitioning into Biotank. Again, we were talking about this before, but Oliveira just isn't really the kind of player to play mech.
I don't think we've ever seen him play mech in any tournament.
Yeah, it's just not really his thing. We do see actually Dark is getting set up here for a Roach Ling push. He's going to be clearing up these rocks in the middle of the map. I believe there is no vision here. And oh my god, Oliveira and Serral, they need to get eyes on this. They need to recognize what's coming their way.
And they so far have not been able to scout this, but the drop of Oliveira will divert a lot of attention away here from Dark. So at least this buys them a little bit more time.
It does buy time. It also confirms the Roach count here. There we go. Spines are being thrown down. I think Serral recognizes what exactly is happening. The drop is doing a great job at just giving them a little bit of breathing room as they have to rebuild their army and have something to defend. There we go. We have a scan to confirm.
That is a tunnelings banging down that door. Banging down those rocks. And now Serral, I mean, he knows just where to defend.
I think you can go back with harass with Medivac.
No, his stalker is in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But they only make units. We just have to defend
his stalker is here.
We can actually just let Team Oliveira commentate for us.
We can just listen to the drama as they fight with each other. Serral's like, go harass, and Oliveira's like, no, they're stalkers. He's like, no, get harass. He's like, no, look, they're stalkers.
Oh, I will touch 12. I will touch 12.
So yeah, they're trying to figure out.
Final.
They're trying to figure out like how aggressive they want to be, or if they want to
think
keep
we can
everything
attack
back at
soon.
home. We do see that Hero is transitioning. He's looking to expand here. He's not committing to the same fight that Dark was. So
Alright,
honestly, Serral's in a really good position because
Oh, wait,
Dark cut workers. What's important though
I have
is
so
he
many
hasn't
bailing links, are
gone back
useless.
into droning. He's been at 45 drones for a very long time.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, if the game continues, then Serral is
I have
going to
many
be in a
links at home, so I
fantastic
can let
position, especially as he techs up. But Dark doesn't want
Dark
the
two
game to
star
get to
player.
that point. Is the
Yeah,
issue.
Dark is very committed, but as Serral was saying, all he had to do was make banelings and he's perfectly fine. We have so many lings available for Dark, but they can't push in because of the banelings.
Yeah, Hero unfortunately not in position to zone away those banelings. He's trying to get into position now, but he meets the Bio Army.
Oh, exactly. But the Biles are going to connect on the banelings. Oh my god, there's only 3 banelings remaining, 4 banelings remaining here, and they are so necessary. Without them, the lings, they can just A move in and he can just commit, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, tanking one of those baneling shots thanks to the +1 armor, and now Dark is coming in for a full-on flank. There are still the Marines that Hero and Dark have to contest with, but Dark is starting to close the distance a little bit. The Biles are landing, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna be enough. 4 tanks, sorry, do survive, and that is more than enough of firepower for Oliveira to keep this push alive.
Yeah, Serral lost the majority of his army, but Oliveira was able to hold strong there with his tanks. He's leapfrogging forward. This hatchery is going to be going down, and can they push on forward to take down the Nexus as well? That's going to be the big question. Dark was Giga all in, by the way, like losing his army. He's having a really hard time maintaining his presence here in this game.
Yeah, that engagement almost worked out for Hero and Dark. But they weren't able to break the backbone of Serral and Oliveira. Marines, banelings, roaches, they're expendable considering just how healthy their economy is. These tanks are the absolute MVP for them.
Yeah, exactly. They just couldn't get on top of those tanks. We do see that Serral is focusing on taking down the 3rd base of Hero, and they have to take it slow. That's all they have to do. There is nothing forcing Serral and Oliveira to break up that ramp and in towards the natural bases. They just have to contain Hero and Dark.
There's nothing forcing them to push into that ramp, but they have the opportunity to do so regardless. That's how good of an army Oliveira has.
And there it is.
Called. Team Celivera will take the lead in this best of 9 series. Team Yanan, if you want to call them that.
GG, well, very well played there. Dark was hyper committed, or we saw Hero and Dark very committed to the aggression early on, and it didn't really work out for them. They weren't able to kill either Serral or Oliveira, and again, that first push was designed to kill. Without that, they had a really awkward transition point, and I think Dark was fully aware of that. That's why he was working on a 45 drone Ling Ravager all-in. He was fully aware that macroing, he would just be behind Serral, so they were working on this massive push, but it was scouted, it was delayed, and he wasn't able to pull it off in the end.
Yeah. Those drops from Oliveira were... I mean, I definitely feel like Oliveira was the MVP in that game. Those drops delayed the push of Hero and Dark for so long, and you know, when the actual engagement happened, we saw just how close it was. Serral lost his entire army, but it really can't be... I feel like it really can't be overstated. The tanks of Oliveira zoned out so much of the army, were able to kill so many Stalkers and so many Ravagers that in the end, it didn't matter that Oliveira was fighting a 1v2.
Yeah, it was one of those things where if Dark had just had like 2 more Ravagers, maybe the Biles would have been enough to break that tank position, especially because the tanks were very clumped up. They were very much on top of each other. But alas, he barely just didn't have the Ravager count that he needed, and as a result, they end up dropping game number 5, and now we're moving on in this series. But it's a best of 9, so we still have at least 2 more games to go. Serral and Oliveira, though, have been looking really good tonight.
They really have. Just so solid. They haven't had to rely too much on any... Yeah, they haven't had to rely too much on any gimmicks or whatnot. I mean, Hero and Dark were the ones who were kind of setting the pace of the series, but Team Celivera were more than willing to just match them each and every time.
Oh yeah, they really were, and now we're looking to see if Hero and Dark can tie up the series again with a 3-3, or if the lead will continue for Serral and Oliveira. That is the real question here. Rascallion is going to be game number 6, and Rascallion, as I quickly just double check here, is... Oh, you're familiar with this map. It's quite a large map, but it's also one of the maps... I don't think so. There's no golds, no golds. But of course, even though it's quite large, we are going back to those maps where we have shared main bases.
Ah, stronger defenses are going to be coming up here. They're so happy, Team Oliveira, and they're so smoging, Team Herc. As we load on in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got Dark, we've got Hero. Oh, actually, jumping in a little bit delayed here. Put them together, they are DPG, Herc.
And in the top left-hand corner, we have the teal Zerg player, Serral, alongside his teammate, the blue Terran player, Oliveira. Together, they are Celivera.
Or Yunnan, if you go by their names.
Shaking my head. So yeah, once again we have some pretty standard openers. It does make plenty of sense. For the majority of this series, we have seen Dark and Hero been hyper aggressive, but I think they need to back the hell up. Especially on Rascallion, they need to just calm the hell down for a little bit. And I feel like even the players themselves are telling each other that.
I want to know why how they're all laughing in unison.
I like to believe Hero's like, Dark, buddy, you need to calm down. And Dark's like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the other side of things, I like to imagine that... Actually, I don't know what Serral or Oliveira will be talking about.
They're like, mate, DPG, they're just full of apes, Papi. We just have to defend. Yeah. That's all we have to do. Just if we defend, we win, Papi. That's it.
Yeah. Unironically.
But we'll see. We'll see how things change here in game number 6. So far, we do have Hero going for a Twilight Council open.
Much earlier on. Yeah. Skipping out on his Stargate entirely this time. Now, I believe he went for a Twilight opener on the S map. No, I think that was actually a Robo opener. My mistake.
That was Twilight. It was Twilight. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was a Twilight then, and yeah. So we could be seeing something similar this time from Hero. Another Blink Stalker regression coming out for him. While Dark just tries to do his thing, just macros up as much as possible. There's Blink. How aggressive is Hero going to be with it, though?
Yeah, so Hero goes for his Blink Stalker opener. We have a 2-1-1 from Oliveira. Serral opens up standard, and as we are seeing here from this lovely observer, Dark skipped his tech, and he is going straight for a lair.
Yeah, boy, you love to see it. Hero, meanwhile, going for 4 gates, I believe it is? With one of the proxy right outside the third base of Serral.
Yeah, this is either 3 or 4 gateways here for Hero, so he's going to be very aggressive with his Blink Stalkers, and he's going to be buying some time for Dark to get away with, I imagine, 2-base Muta. This is a very good map for Mutas just because of how large it is, how much open space there is. There's so much room to maneuver around, but we'll see where this all leads us, as Dark is actually making a wave of links here to support Hero.
Yeah, at least in the initial aggression. It pays to give these stalkers a bit of a buffer, but Dark does not go for the Spire.
Let's go. He goes for the infestation bit, so we have 2-base Swarm Host coming out from Dark again. We've seen this been very popular in the 2v2s. We saw it even in the previous series in the 3rd place match as well. So far, unscouted. Meanwhile, the 2v2 is coming out here. Blink is still not done, so these medevacs should be relatively safe, and they come across the proxy.
Just like so. But there are Blink Stalkers here to, kind of mess that up a little bit, so Oliveira not quite able to deny the proxy.
Yeah, the hatchery is going to be taking a couple of hits here, but with the power of Terran and Zerg, the Protoss army is going to be forced back. But they do get quite a number of shots off. Again, Blink is done, and Hero does have arguably the best Blink control in the world.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Rep Harding.
The F's in the chat for parting as the Stalkers are pushed back. Meanwhile, the first wave of Swarmhosts are on the way.
The first wave of Swarm Hosts are on the way. Hero is committed to that position, by the way. He has thrown down a couple of shield batteries there, and now he has a place to retreat if need be. One sentry back at home will be helping the defense a lot, and the first wave of Locusts are out now.
Yeah, and it looks like this hatchery is going to be going down. Serral, this is a brutal loss, losing the hatchery and losing the morphing in lair. He's going to be stuck with nothing but Ling Bane here to work with. He has to rebuild even his spawning pool. That's
always rough. Oliveira, at the very least, going to be able to catch these shield batteries, which is something, but Dark is remaking that Nidus.
Yeah, we do see the Lings of Serral going for a counterattack here, but there's so much at home to defend.
No damage.
The Lings, as Serral says himself, don't do any damage here.
In my base. Big problem.
I agree, Serral. I agree.
Yeah, already come.
Oh god, and because of the start of this Swarm Host aggression, Serral is kind of out of this game for a little bit. Like he's gonna be on the back foot once again. These Swarm Hosts, they get on top of the hatchery. Oh god!
And they will be able to kill it, not get a cancel.
Yeah, and you can hear the frustrations seeping into Serral.
If you want to.
It's so difficult to come back from this position here. Like it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. And this is a hard position to come back from in a 1v1. You factor in the fact that Hero has a ton of stalkers to just add insult to injury, and I think Serral's pretty much dead. I mean, he said himself he has no units.
Yeah, he doesn't really have anything. We do have another Locust wave. Oh no, the lair goes down again! And the spawning pool is exposed. Serral is down to only one hatchery, and at this point it is a 1v2. At this point it's Oliveira doing his best to defend, to pose a threat here to Hero and Dark.
And while Oliveira was able to win the 1v2 earlier, that was a maxed out Oliveira when he was in his final form. Now, not so much. It's going to be a lot tougher, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, the armies are kind of out of position, but there's a Nidus, so are they ever really out of position? They can always just rush back home. We can also recall back home as well. Here we go. Oliveira going for one last hurrah here. He takes down the Cyber Core, but we have a Locust Wave to defend.
Remember the Olimo as the Locust, yeah. Do dive on top of just about everything. They are able to take out the tanks, and the Marines aren't long after. Oh, actually, Marines still survive.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get on top of the army. Banelings are morphed in as well to try and defend against Hero. You can see that Serral and Oliveira are doing the best that they can to muster a defense and an offense, but GG gets called, and Dark and Hero tie up the series 3-3.
That was what they were laughing about at the start of this game. That was what, yeah. That was why they were smiling so much. They had this idea, and they were able to execute it very, very well. Hero and Dark, I mean, something about them. They just have plans for every single map.
Yeah, and the real question is, was that smile from Hero and Dark, was that them laughing because Dark's like, yo, watch me break the mantle of Serral? Because this is a long series, and Serral, you could hear that he was frustrated in that game.
Yep.
I wouldn't go as far as to say tilted, but he was definitely frustrated. And it's understandable, you know, you can't do anything. The Locust Waves, they just keep coming in, and they just kill bases left and right. And it's like, what do you do? They even killed his spawning pool as well. So hopefully Serral is able to shake that off. There have been times in the past where, you know, he has gotten frustrated, and that has impacted his games in tournament play. So hopefully he's able to keep his cool here in this series.
Look, it's a 2v2. If you're ever starting to tilt a little bit, at least you have your teammate to fall back on. But Oliveira plays Terran. Never mind. Never mind.
It's like it's a 2v2, so you can just blame your teammate, mate. It's all good. It's all good. You can just absolve yourself of responsibility. Be like, nah, it's because clearly Oliveira should have scanned, and they said we could have figured out what was happening, Kappa.
Like, oh, your teammate can give you some moral support. Not if they're smooching, mate. Not if they're smooching.
Oh boy, so yeah, GG gets called. We are continuing to tie up the series here as we get into game number 7.
Indeed, we will. As a reminder to everyone back home, this is not an ace match. This is going to be a best of 9. So it's the first team to get 5 wins instead of first team to get 4 wins. 5. Yes, the first team to get 5 wins instead of first team to get 4 wins. That's math.
Mm-hmm. There you go. The first to 5, mate. Vamonos. There's still at least 2 more games to go. Oh boy. And we'll see kind of how this all transpires. Game number 7 is going to be on Catalyst. Catalyst, I believe, is one of the... Yes, it's one of the TLMC maps. So again, one of the maps that hasn't been able to be on the 2v2 ladder.
Catalyst. See. And yeah, just touching on a little bit as to what you were saying earlier. I feel like if there was ever a player to break break an opponent's mental, it's got to be Hero. Dark helped out with his Locust, but that plan, I gotta say, was all Hero.
I thought you were gonna say Dark because if you remember, Dark was the player to Manamule as well.
He was that. Look, that Terran game was what kind of pummeled Ragnarok's mental, but it was only the game afterwards where he was really broken by Hero's one probe.
True. Oh my god, that's the thing, right? Both Dark and Hero, they're such good players, and they have such a great way of just abusing kind of certain situations and taking advantage of situations as well. That's what makes them so scary, both individually. Bring them together, and it's a nightmare. Oh boy. So Serral and Oliveira, looks like they just need a little bit of time to just acclimate themselves once again. Yeah, get the smudge out of their systems.
Just exhale.
Yeah.
Like so.
Just breathe, papi, breathe. As we get into game number 7. Again, this is going to be one of those maps that does kind of favor certain play here. Let me just quickly double that. I just need some confirmation. We do have shared main bases, and we also have pocket bases as well. I want to believe that we should be able to defend a little bit easier, but we'll see.
Indeed, we shall. Indeed, we shall. As, again, a bit of a newer map. Players aren't too familiar with it, but without further ado, we're getting into it. Top left-hand corner, we got Oliveira, we got Serral. Put them together, you got Oliveira. Oliveira.
We got Avril Lavigne. Let's go, papi. Let's go. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have both Dark and Hero representing DPG. Ooh, having a pretty solid, very solid game just now, previously in game number 6. And tying up that series 3-3.
A little terrarium in the middle of the map.
Ah, beautiful.
Or not in the middle of the map, but it's like, off the side of the bases.
Yeah. There's a little bit of Easter eggs here. Shout out to Madas, as I believe Madas is the creator of this map.
Yeah, that's what the M's for, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, so it is great to see. But despite that, we'll see how this kind of game unfolds. We have seen some pretty solid mid games and even late games on this map. We saw Serral and Oliveira just pull apart Skillus and Radita on this map, just pushing left and right and dropping into bases. But I don't know if that's what we're going to be getting here. Dark, he's happy about something.
He's very happy about something. Yeah, you can definitely see the contrast between our two teams. Not just between our two teams. You can see the contrast between Team Oliveira now and Team Oliveira at the start of the series.
I was thinking the same thing. I think it was like game 4 where we were loading in and we got a close up on Serral and he was smiling. There was such a bright smile on his face. He was so happy. But now
he smiled,
yeah. It's the happiest he's ever been, Papi. This is a happy moment in his life. And then suddenly the smudge kicked in, and now we can see that Oliveira, they're much more serious here. They're much more just focused as well, and maybe that's to their advantage. We'll see.
Yeah. Perhaps, but a wise man once said, the happier they are, the harder they smudge.
Who said that?
I did. Just I picked it up.
Oh my god. It's one of those things where, for a player to really experience despair, you have to take away their hope. You have to take away their happiness, and they have to be happy.
Yeah. Oh. Of what they could be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as we're getting a little bit of latency issues here, but it looks like things are clearing on up. We are continuing on, and once again, I believe we have a 2-on-1 from Oliveira.
I was worried that was just on my end.
Nah, so everyone's smudging.
Everyone. Including the internet.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it looks like the clean feed is having a couple of stuttering issues, but it looks like we have resolved them. Meanwhile, Dark, he's doing it again. 2-base lair.
Dark's doing dark things. But is he going to be doing it again?
Call it Yaku. Is an infestation pit or a spire? Does he mix it up, or does he do more of the same? Oh.
I feel like if there was ever a player to do something twice in a row, it would be Dark.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And you know what? Hero's doing the same thing as well. He's going into 3-gate blink aggression here, very similar to the game that we just had. We do have a scan. Ooh, but the scan misses the lair.
Unfortunate.
I was joking when I was like, last game, Serral was like, mate, next time you better you better scan Oliveira. And he did, but they missed the lair. As a result, they missed the spire.
Yeah. One of the most unfortunate scans you can really get. That's what they're talking about right now, Dark and Hero. He's like, I can't believe they missed the lair.
So what's important is that the scan did confirm the second gas in the main base, at least. So because 2 gases have been taken, that is very sus. You can assume there's a lair. But even if there is a lair, they could have thought that it was going to be Nidus play again. We just had Swarmhost Nidus in the previous game, so Serral and Oliveira, they're still playing in the dark.
Yeah, you don't want to be dealing with Swarmhost or dealing with Mutas with the same units that you get to deal with Swarmhosts.
Yeah, you can swipe there, but it's very expensive, so maybe, I don't know.
Oh, exactly. As the
Yep.
So what is
I agree, Serral. What
coming
is it?
Yeah.
There we go. So you can see as well that Serral and Oliveira, they don't know what exactly they're playing against. We see another scan into the natural base. They confirm the lair, but the spire was in the main, not in the natural. So once again, they don't know.
Many links. There's many
This
links.
is such a smart
Yeah,
move
I think
from
it's
Dark.
Oh.
Get your tech in your main, but get your lair in your natural.
Yeah, the mind games. As you did hear, though, Serral was able to piece together that it was mutas, so they are going to be getting ready for the mutas. They are getting in position. They have correctly identified what Dark is doing.
Yeah, and they are reacting appropriately, I would say. I mean, I don't see any spores right now being made, but there's still plenty of queens for Serral. Turret is on the way for Oliveira.
Yeah, you can hear the indecision as well, or the lack of confidence. They were like, "Yo, it's mutas." Is it though?
I think he's making muta moves, like.
Yeah.
A mental that's starting to break a little bit. Not quite broken yet.
A little bit. Here we go. You can see the mutas on the left-hand side of the map. They're going straight for the main base of Oliveira. The important thing is, does he have units in his main? We do have some scouting links, and here we go. We have confirmation of the mutas. They're on the way.
Yeah, there is a turret up and ready, but the Marines are still lagging behind a little bit. Hero, meanwhile, is trying to do whatever damage he can get done here on the bases of Serral. That hatchery already at half health.
Yeah, but the Lings are in position here, so very nice engagement by Serral. Is able to deflect the first push from Hero, but he is back not just with Stalkers, also with Sentries. Up!
Yeah, Sentry's doing such a good job of splitting this army in half. He will lose a couple of them to the Marines, but yeah, for the most part, he was able to keep his army alive.
Yeah, but a decent engagement. A lot of the sentries are going to be going down. Every single sentry is going to fall there. So a nice trade there. The Mutas of Dark weren't able to capitalize with the chaos that was being caused. It looks like one tank is going to go down for free. Oliveira did leave one behind, unfortunately, as it does go down. But so far, a decent couple of moments here for Oliveira.
Yeah. Defense could have been a lot worse. It's one way of looking at it, I suppose.
Yeah, these mutas they just haven't been able to do too much at all. Even here, they try to punish these roaches, but we have some spores in position. At the same time, the wall is not a wall. Dark Slings do get into the main base of Oliveira.
Yeah, splitting them a little bit now. Lings in the main, Lings in the pocket. Regardless, Oliveira's going to be taking some damage. It's hurting a little bit when it comes to the workers. Hero coming in with a 1-2 punch here. Couple of Banelings did connect to the Marines, but thankfully for Team Oliveira, there were roaches in the back line to keep those stalkers at bay.
We need one tank both sides.
Serral is having a hard time keeping up with Hero's rotations, by the way. Serral has to be here for the Stalker fights, and every single time he backs off Hero, he comes back in, so Hero's been able to get a lot of value.
Yeah, the creep threat hasn't been that great, but it also hasn't been that great because it can't be that great. The more creep gets spread on the map, the less room Oliveira has to build. It's a very delicate thing that you have to balance when you're in a Zerg Terran team.
Yeah, but that is pros. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, right now they're just really struggling to keep up with this aggression bouncing between the bases of these mutas and these stalkers. The roaches are able to kind of keep up here, bearing in mind that behind this, Dark and Hero are expanding. They are taking more and more bases. So at a certain point, Serral and Oliveira have to break free. But Serral, throughout all of this, I believe he has been working on a hive. I believe he is thinking about going into Vipers to help deal with these mutas.
That would be a fantastic way of dealing with all of these mutas. Just consider the compositions. One good blinding cloud will be enough to allow these Marines to just clean up whatever's left. But we'll see if he's actually able to pull that off.
Yeah, we have 3 Vipers on the way. They need a little bit of time here to gather that energy, but at least the hive is now completed. So again, Serral going Roach Viper is a great way to shut this down if he's able to connect those parasitic bombs. We see a scan confirming that we don't have a hive. It is still only a lair for Dark, so just Ling Bane Muta is all he's working with.
Yeah, for now. Hero, meanwhile, doesn't seem to be taking up that much either. I mean, he's got High Templar now. He is researching Storm, and that'll help a ton against the Marines and the Banelings as well of Serral. But we might not even get to that point.
Here we go. The Ling Bane's going to be rolling on in, trying to get on top of that mineral line. We do see a Baneling connecting, but it wasn't enough to take down all those workers at the same time. Oliveira needs to rotate over. He needs to support Serral.
But he is being distracted so much by those mutas. The Bioforce gets zoned away as well by the storms. Great splits on the parabombs here from Dark, and Oliveira are starting to buckle.
They are starting to buckle here. The parabombs were not good enough. The tank count was reset by the mutas. Oliveira and Serral have been pulled apart this entire game, and it's not going to be enough here. Marines are coming in from behind, but the muta cloud is just too big.
It is a 26-25, so it is a catastrophe. No, wait. Yes, a catastrophe of Mutalists coming down here. And it's really catastrophizing the economies of Oliveira and Serral.
Yeah, the only way to come back is if the parabombs connect beautifully and if Dark doesn't split up his mutas. But he knows that's not going to happen. We can see he's laughing right now. He's like, yeah, mate, look, there's just no way. We have... Do it, puppy, do it. Oh my god, they have just so much map control right now. Serral is going for a little bit of a roach run by. It is going to wreak a little bit of havoc. This is forcing some of the mutas at least to come back home.
Yeah, well, he was thinking of it, but then Hero's like, no, just keep pushing. I got this, puppy. I don't mind losing every single one of my probes. Just keep pushing.
Speaking of, that's what Oliveira is doing. It looks like Oliveira has had enough to try and defend against these mutas. He's committing to a massive push here with the Roach Army. Meanwhile, Parabomb, the splits are just too damn good. Dark doesn't take too much damage at all.
Yeah, the muta splits are too damn good. The Marine splits, however, I mean, are as good as they can be considering the circumstances, but it's not that
Up!
great. The
Vipers
Vipers are so exposed that we're able to get a couple of pair bombs off before going down, but that's still a very heavy loss. And Dark is still able to split up his Mutalisk very, very well.
Hey, Dark, he is so limber. He is so flexible. Whenever there's a power bomb, he splits off beautifully every single time. And because of that, the Muta count is absolutely insane. Here we go. We are 100% all in. Serral and Oliveira are trying desperately to make this push work. But alas, it's just a numbers game. There's just too much Protoss. There's too much Zerg.
Yeah. And they're not even fighting together.
Oh.
Now they're starting to converge, but yeah. That's just about the final nail in the coffin, I would say. I'm really impressed by Oliveira's macro. You know, despite not having that much of an economy, he is still making use of every single one of his production facilities. He has a decent bioforce out on the map, but it is not going to be enough. GG, Dragon Phoenix Gaming finds themselves a match point.
GG. DPG only need one more Uno Mas to advance on. I say advance on to win the entire tournament here for WTL 2v2 Tour. They are oh so close. Serral and Oliveira, they did a great job early on to get a couple of wins, specifically defending against early game aggression. But here in these longer macro games, we can see Serral and Dark really flex their control and their ability to just pull apart their opponents here. Even here with the Muta Blink Stalker control, they were doing a great job at abusing the map. And you could see that Serral and Oliveira, they were having such a hard time rotating and keeping up. And more often than not, whenever there was a fight, it was a 2v1. Typically, either Serral or Oliveira needed a little bit more time to actually get in position to help support.
Yeah, I'm usually used to seeing either Hero or Dark take the 1v2 and even win those 1v2s, but yeah, we're getting a bit of a reversal here in our grand finals, and I am here for it. Hero and Dark alone are some of the best players in the world. Hero, without question, is the best Protoss player.
Yep.
Dark, easily one of, if not the best Zerg player. Put them together, and that's a disastrous Archon.
Yeah, it is a terrifying team to deal with, and I think we got to see a lot of their skills there in game number 7. But now we're getting ready for game number 8. Heavy Artillery is going to be the battleground for this map, for this game, for this match, for this series, and Heavy Artillery. Oh. For the World Team League. This is another one of these maps that is quite small. There are these, the main bases are together so they can support each other in the early game, but this is a pretty good map for 2-base layer.
Oh yeah, but does Dark want to go 2-base layer 3 games in a row?
Oh yeah.
I'd say yeah.
I mean, he keeps
winning.
winning.
Want to go 2-base layer though.
Dark keeps winning. He keeps making the 2-base play work. Whether it's Mutas, whether it's Swarm Hosts, whether it's Nidus. So we'll see how these players do shape up against each other. I agree. I do think that it would be really cool to see Serral go 2-base layer as well.
Yeah. I think we saw Serral go 2-base Swarm Hosts last night, didn't we? And it worked out really well for him. And really well for Team Silvera against Team Ratless.
Yeah. Specifically on Heavy Artillery, Serral has gone for 2-base Swarm Host before. We'll see if he does it here. Oh, as we are loading on in, the smiles are back out. What do we have in store for us?
They have a plan as we load into Heavy Artillery in the bottom left-hand corner. We've got our blue Terran player Oliveira, a teal Zerg player Serral. Put them together, they are Team Silvera.
And in the top right-hand corner, we have Dark alongside Hero, as they are DPG.
Oh, G.
DPG.
G. It's a DP double G.
As we do have, some pretty interesting openers here. Oliveira going for a very fast 2 gases.
Oh. Is this the time to whip out the mech?
I wonder. I mean, he is prioritizing that gas. We do have a probe scout though, and this is gonna see everything. By the way.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wait. Wait,
I-
both Hero and Dark are smiling. They were
They
laughing.
Man, I have to wonder how much of this build is dependent just on the fact that Oliveira can't make a wall.
Yeah, so Oliveira, he's going for a reactor first here. I'm at, yep, there's a factory all off of one base. Bear that in mind. Because of the double gas opener, there should be a one base opener. And with this, he can get into Hellion. He can get into Hellion production. Is he going to go for like a Hellion drop? Or is he going to commit to something else?
We'll see. The reactor's about to finish up here, and yeah, okay. Double Reaper.
Oh my god.
Double Reapers are coming out right now from
Oh.
Oliveira. Let's go.
Is this smart? Do we want to do this when we're on match point? So
Not at all, but that's why I think it's gonna work.
he's going all in on one base, Papi. He does have enough resources for a CC. There we go. He does throw down a CC on location. This is spotted by Hero. And yeah, so he's not going for the add-on switch. He's just going for Reaper Hellion.
Let's go.
This is a TVT.
I mean, it's a TVZP.
Yeah. Very interesting. So a lot of gas, of course, is going to be utilized in the Hellion and Reaper production here for Oliveira. He's going to be applying a lot of pressure early on. I just don't know how much success he's going to find with this. Like, we don't see this too often at all in 2v2s.
Yeah. I mean, Mass Reaper is a thing that sometimes happens in 2v2s, but that's usually, you know, proxy 3-racks or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's usually a mono battle, at least.
Ugh.
You know, you're not really supporting the Reapers that much with the Hellions. It's just a game of getting as many Reapers as possible. This is also scouted, by the way, by Hero, so yeah, Team Herc, Team DPG, they are well aware. Or, well, they have a little bit of an idea of what they're up against.
Yeah, and our tone is definitely signifying that we don't really have faith or believe that Oliveira is going to deal damage. If he does, that's going to be amazing. But as we can see, like, the Reapers and Hellions haven't done much at all here. They're still alive at least, so they have potential to even run past these Stalkers and get into a mineral line. But I don't think we have any Reaper cliffs to even avoid that wall, by the way. Like, I don't know if Oliveira can really do much here. He's transitioning into Cloak Banshees. Oh
Yeah, and I mean, getting a ton of Reapers can definitely be one of the things you can do with a lot of Reapers in a 2v2 is to just throw out your KDA charges, mess up your opponent's position, and allow your Zerg partner to just flood Lings in. But as we can see, Serral is focusing on getting Roaches this game.
yeah, he's getting into Roach production. We can see Oliveira is losing every single one of his units here out on the map. He trades with Lings, which is something you never want to be seeing. So now any kind of map control that Oliveira once had is now gone. He is following up with the Banshee, so we'll see if the Banshee can try and recover some of that damage, as now map control is squarely in DPG's favor.
I saw a little grimace there from Oliveira as his Reapers went down, and I felt that in my soul.
Yeah, it was just an unfortunate opener here from the Terran. Maybe he was just blindly trying to counter like a 13-12 or something from Dark, or just to get units early on. We do see the Banshee across the map is going to be dealing some damage, but the Stalkers are in.
Yeah, there's no detection, so the Banshee can actually get a lot done, but likewise, these Stalkers are gonna be stonewalled a little bit by the Banelings and by the Marines.
I killed some drone and
Yeah, but the Banshee just went down across the map.
Yeah, one Banshee isn't enough to one-shot, unfortunately. Oh no, Serral just said he thinks it's Spire.
Oh, they're about to get...
Swarmhost.
They're about to get confirmation. The Banshee goes into the pocket base, confirming that Dark is indeed going for Nidus Swarmhost once again. So now they have all the pieces to the puzzle. But even though they have that information, will they be able to defend?
Yeah, they unfortunately haven't really been preparing for Swarmhost, but they have a little bit of time here. Again, Heavy Artillery is a map that you can defend pretty easily on, but not when you're spreading your army apart like this.
I think I want to mine these minerals out so we get out of our...
I don't think that's a great idea, Serral.
I do think it's good just for some more maneuverability. Like right now, they can't punish this Nidus. Like the
think
only
your
way
base,
to
maybe?
get to that
No?
Yeah,
location is through
No, no, the first
those stalkers. There we go. He mines through. The lings are flooding on in, so he's gonna be able to get on top of the Nidus.
Behind my base.
Will be able to deny that, but okay, actually, the locusts do land, but they get very short work done on them by the tank and by the roaches. While the roaches were pulled out of position, Hero blinks in. He is able to take out the tank, but not able to deal any economic damage.
Yeah, exactly. The tank does go down. It looks like the proxy pylon is going to be dealt with here. No, never mind. The banelings do fend off the lings of Serral. He does clean up the Nidus in the end, so they're going to have a little bit of breathing room. Serral is not looking too bad. He's got a lot of roaches.
And he is looking to get a concave.
Okay.
Meanwhile, a lot of locusts are looking to land in that natural base of Oliveira. Serral counterattacking as best he can.
Yeah.
It's fine. He didn't get
And I think
so
Serral
much.
has to commit here
Cool,
to
cool.
a big push. I think he
Fine.
has to move out across the map. For the time being, he's actually looking for the Nidus, and he will be able to find it. I think the Nidus even already got cleaned up.
Oh, you
Yeah,
think the Nidus?
Serral didn't know.
Yeah.
Ah, Serral!
Oof.
Maybe on my base, bro.
But at least he is able to draw all of these stalkers away.
Oh, I can defend the other way.
Locusts
yeah.
are trying to get more damage done, but
Farmhouse behind my base.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of miscommunication there
So
between the
many.
players. Unfortunately, we do have a massive locust wave, and God, that's a lot of locusts. I think Dark is more than happy to trade with roaches here.
yeah, I mean, these are free units versus units that cost money. And this opens
So many
up
farmhouse.
the base.
I
It
think
softens
I
up so many
counterattack
defenses that now
many
Hero
roaches.
is looking to see what he can get done. The answer is not a lot. Oliveira is able to turn around.
Yeah, and I think the window to counterattack may just be gone here. Like Serral is saying himself, like we got to do something. We have to attack.
Nidus.
But it's possible that the window has closed.
I think I
We'll see as he's going for that roach counterattack.
roaches there, and I
Yeah,
brought
well, the funny thing is about Swarm Hosts is that they are sitting ducks after they've expended their Locust Waves, so there's definitely still a possibility here. You know, if Serral and Oliveira are able to time their push well enough, if they are able to back away from the Locusts and just fight while Dark has a lot of dead supply, then
Yeah, just kill that
that's
base, I
definitely
think.
one possibility for them.
Yo, Serral the MVP. He has Tumbling Claws. He has Burrow right now. He has roaches in the bases of Dark. He goes in for one massive push with the support of Oliveira. The third base for Hero is going to be going down.
Just
I guess
like
he's gonna
so.
attack me, actually.
We do still have to be a little bit worried
Yeah,
here,
I
or
block,
at
I
least
block.
Oliveira do still have to be a little bit
let's go.
careful
Let's go.
of
Let's
the
go.
Locusts again.
But if
They
Farmhouse
deal a
comes,
lot
let's
of
go back,
damage if
let's
they
go
can
back
get their
to
full
Farmhouse.
if they can get their full waves off.
Yes, Hero, he gets sandwiched for a moment there. He does sustain a lot of damage to his army, but here we go. Serral and Oliveira, they're committing to one massive push to try and end the game. But look at how many Swarm Hosts there are!
That's a lot, but not all of them have
behind,
Locusts
fire,
available. I just love that for a quick second there. Oliveira's like, trust me, bro, trust me.
Well, I mean, yeah, now that the Locust Wave is going to be cleaned up, I believe Serral and Oliveira, they can push through.
Yeah, the tanks have been dealt with, but there's just no supply here for Dark. All of these Swarm Hosts, once again, they've spent their Locusts.
Oh my God, the Observer's just going crazy.
Yeah,
Calm down, Observer. Right now, Dark just has to wait for another Locust Wave, but even if he gets the Locust Wave off, we can see Hero is on one base, Dark is on two.
Yeah, the economies
Yes,
have
yes.
been
FPL?
completely
FPL?
crippled.
It's like man base. He's playing. It's very good to compete.
Well, I think Hero's Stalkers were all killed,
Yeah,
weren't
I
they?
know. They did the same again, I think.
Locusts are starting to land.
It's over? Can we still lose,
No,
maybe?
we're just
Already, I think.
Is it
listening
over?
here, and
It
yeah,
very
yeah.
well looks like it.
But that's
So
really-
many
The Swarm Host
Swarm
survived.
But Protoss
Oh,
no
And
army.
Serral and Time are coming to that realization as well.
I'll try golden base.
Yeah, I mean, they are macroing up as best they can.
Maybe he has.
Oliveira, he's getting a 4th base behind all of this, and Serral is on 3 bases, compared to 2 bases of Dark.
I will
The
take it
Dark can't even believe that this push is still going
I
on.
think if
He's
they
just
send
smiling to
Swarm
himself
Hosts,
like,
just go back.
oh my god,
Because so many.
Swarm Hosts
Yeah,
are
so
good.
Many, so many. No, not that
Yeah, exactly. We do see they're trying to
Okay, now all
They're trying to figure out how they want to
fight.
fight. Another Locust Wave comes in!
Marines, that's good.
And they do land right on top of these Marines. Another thing about these Locusts, aside from all the damage that they are able to get done,
Yeah.
they cause quite a bit of friendly fire
It's
from
over.
the tanks
So
as
BS
well.
is dead.
A
I
hero
think,
is losing his entire economy though. To the
Oh.
drops,
Never played that
Dark
before,
knows
though.
he can't
No.
fight with pure Swarm host.
we never
GG
played
is
that.
called, and Team Oliveira is able to take us to the ace match.
GG, well played. That was quite close. They themselves were like, did we just die here? They were like, did we just lose because of the counterattack? But they did cripple Hero and Dark just barely enough, and they had a good enough economy behind it as well. They tied up the series 4-4. That was really close, though. Like, Serral, I'll be honest, Serral was carrying quite hard there with his roach harassment and with his macro as well. He maxed out on roaches just as they were pushing. It was really impressive. Really impressive.
It absolutely was. And I think it just goes to show as well, you can't mono battle with Swarm hosts.
Yeah, I think Dark going Mass Swarm Host was not the best idea. We saw that, whenever the Locust Wave were coming out, it was quite a powerful army, but I mean, Serral and Oliveira, they never have to commit to a fight with that, and whenever the Locust Wave runs out, Dark just has dead supply.
Pretty much. That's why it was also so important that they were able to cripple Hero early on as well. I think the game plan there from Team DPG was Dark goes Mass Swarm Hosts, Hero gets whatever units he needs to just back up those Swarm Hosts, but yeah, Team Oliveira inadvertently were able to just make sure that game plan never came into fruition. And now, it's only one map to determine which team is going to be the champions of the WTL 2v2 tour, and we are coming back to a map that we've seen already in the series, but they do get a bit of a revive. Fields of Death, the most fitting map, I think, to end everything on.
Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. I believe this is the final map. Yeah, this is the final map to be played. We haven't had this map yet, and we are going to end it all here. It's really cool that we were able to feature everyone so far. And yeah, I mean the chat are just touching on it at the moment, and the problem with Swarmhost is that they have diminishing returns. I think we can both agree that at a certain point, we probably want to stop Swarmhost production and switch into something else. Mass Swarmhost, like, this isn't Heart of the Swarm, it used to be a thing. Nowadays, not so much. And here, I think we saw some of the weaknesses of it. You could argue that maybe if Hero had a standing army strong enough to support a counterattack, maybe you could. But yeah, alas, Dark, he couldn't carry that on his own.
Yeah, not quite, unfortunately. And it wasn't like he was, trying to either. To be fair, again, I think if you're going for Mass Swarm Hosts, you know that you're not going to be carrying. You know that you're not going to be carrying. You know that you're not going to be winning 1v2s. It was just a matter of fact that, yes, Oliveira were able to force 2v1s over and over and over again.
Yeah, pretty much. And here we go. We are now in game number 9, the ace match, the final game here of the night. Which way is this going to go? I also want to let people know a little bit as well that if Oliveira win, we will have a winner's interview.
Well, we might have a winner's interview, depending on if we're able to get translators. And we are going to end it now on Fields of Death. No off races, but in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Oliveira, otherwise known as Peinan, and Serral, otherwise known as Yona. Put them together, they are Oliveira, or Yunnan.
Spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have Dark and Hero representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. Two of the best players in the world here, but in 2v2s, they are having a bit of a harder time. It's been very close here in this series. It's been very back and forth. How will this all come to an end? Fields of Death. We have gold bases. We have pocket bases. We have a lot of bases.
Yeah, we have death.
We do.
As a game is starting to kick off, both teams just strategizing a little bit with each other, bantering a little bit. As we can see, our eyes are glued on that production tab for the time being because we really want to know Why are they smiling so much?
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, it has come down to the wire, and I want to echo some sentiments from the chat as well. That it's really cool to see that here in the grand finals we have an ace match. We didn't know if it was going to go this far. Things were looking really dire for Serral and Oliveira in the previous game because of the Swarm host play, because it took them so long to piece together what was happening. But now that we move on to the ace match, to game number 9, I wonder how this is all going to lead, because Fields of Death historically is more of a macro map. We have had some 30+ minute games on Fields of Death.
We also have some very quick games with Hellions on this map, and it looks like Oliveira does want to keep that going. That was a reacted Reapers coming up. We should be seeing a couple of Hellions to support that pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Oliveira's opener in the previous game fell on its face, and I wasn't very convinced by it. But he's doing something very similar to it here, as we do have Reaper Hellion on the way. Once again, Oliveira went for a double gas opener. Again, I'm pretty sure the reason why he's been going for this the past 2 games is just for safety, just so he has additional units to defend against, specifically Ling Bane.
Yeah. Gonna be able to just roast those Lings if need be. KD8 chart is always valuable, and Reapers are a unit you always want to be getting just to scout whatever you can. Nice kill on one of those drones.
Yeah, very nicely done. He does pick off one of those drones in the end already. Pretty good start here for Oliveira. We'll see if he can keep going, keep the pressure up as he runs into a wall of adepts, and Hero is going to be going for a Stargate opener. Oof.
Yeah, the bread and butter, really. The bread and butter of 2v2s, the bread and butter of Hero, the bread and butter of PvT. It's Stargate's pretty good.
Yeah, and very nice control there from Oliveira, keeping his weakened units alive and pulling them back as well. We had some very slick micro against that adept.
I have like 10 links. I can make 2 Banelings, and maybe
we can try. We can try.
Trying to push across the map.
I think maybe no Banelings.
While they can, there are no Banelings. That's correct.
It's fine. Really.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. We have links to support.
No, I think I will make 2 Banes. I have money.
A couple of Banelings have been morphed in for Dark Now. It's going to make this offensive a little bit trickier, but not by that much. The Phoenixes are going to be the deciding factor in these engagements.
Yeah, immediately they do back off. Like Serral and Oliveira, they were flirting with the idea of pressuring a little bit, but they weren't committing. They were droning behind this, and it looks like all the units here of Oliveira are going to be cleaned up.
So we don't die to Ling.
They were flirting, but weren't quite able to commit. As Dark goes for a full counterattack, Hero meeting him as well with that, sending his Phoenixes across the map. That's a lot of links from Dark.
Yeah, bearing in mind that we are joining behind this as well, so even though we are just feigning a little bit of aggression here, Dark is thinking further ahead. He's looking to go into, I imagine, roaches, as we do have +1 carry base on the way. We're not having any kind of 2 base layer nonsense.
Yeah, it's actually better.
Not this time, anyway. Hero definitely trying to see what he can get done here with his Phoenixes, but
I just make drone.
The answer is not a whole lot when there are 2 Cyclones out in the map.
Yeah, we can hear both Oliveira and Serral just confirming that.
He's 360 very late, and
yeah, they're confirming that, of course, that it was only light pressure, that it wasn't a committed attack, so they're just chilling, they're just calming down, continuing to make more bases and focusing on a later push.
Yeah, scouting whatever they can. Nice couple of pickoffs here for Hero.
He's making Phoenix, but he has a Robo.
And the Robo is producing Colossus.
I will try to mine and Marine. I will change.
Yeah, so this is very similar to what we were seeing on on map.
But I don't think I think it's
on map Polka, where Hero went for Phoenix Colossus, and of course that's what we're seeing again here.
I will make Vipers.
Oh.
I already have many drones. I just make now only. I make Hive and Roach.
That's a good point from Serral. He does have 69 drones. It's more than enough for the early game and enough to keep the mid game going for quite a bit as well. He is just trying to tech up as quickly as possible, getting an infestation pick, getting the Hive behind this.
Mate.
But Dark isn't too far behind either.
Yeah, this is really scary. So, we saw Serral scout the Phoenix Colossus, which is true, but as soon as the scout died, Hero immediately threw down a second Stargate. So it looks like he's actually getting ready to transition into Skytoss sooner rather than later. And we did see that kind of come to fruition. There we go. I don't know if you saw it. He started and then canceled the fleet beacon. There we go. He restarts the fleet beacon. He is looking to go into carriers.
Yep. Colossus aren't looking to do anything other than keep Dark and Hero alive until the late game can come into fruition. And what do we always say? You're playing a team game. If you're playing team games and you have Protoss, go get into carriers and you win.
Yeah, but before that happens, both Oliveira and Serral, they have a decent army. You can see they are moving out across the map, and right now Hero and Dark are at the weakest possible. They're at their kind of weakest here before they get into carriers.
Yeah, sure. Let's give some pressure.
Yeah, and Oliveira are well aware of that as well. They're just trying to apply as much pressure as they possibly can. Oh, but they're being chased away.
Yeah, they went.
Do you think he's going Colossus, or what do you think he's
They're
going?
trying to piece together. They just went for a scan and they confirmed that there was too much to defend. So they will back off. They don't want to overcommit and lose too much.
I think he just go Phoenix.
Yeah, which is definitely a smarter choice, but it does also mean that they're going to have to hit a little bit harder when they do eventually push out later, because Hero already has his Colossus out. He has a Disruptor out. The carrier production has started, and Dark is going to have full energy infestors pretty soon.
This is dangerous. So if you were just listening to what they were saying, Serral was asking Oliveira what he thought, and Oliveira was like, I think they're going up to 4 Colossi, and that's what they're gonna have. And Serral's like, okay, so I'm gonna have Vipers to deal with the Colossi, and then we can push in. So they're assuming Phoenix Colossus out of Hero, but again, they weren't able to confirm the Skytoss transition. They don't know that they're gonna be running into carriers. They also don't know that they're on a bit of a timer here. Despite that, though, with this Viper timing, they can still maybe make this push work.
Yeah, it's definitely possible if they coordinate it well enough, and if they are able to fight without Hero having too many carriers here. Vipers, they're pretty good in all scenarios. They're good against Colossus, they're good against carriers. Roaches, though, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we have a bit of a triple jump here on the right-hand side from the side of Oliveira. He's going to be able to siege up, and there we go. We have a scan confirming the Colossi, confirming the ground army. The carriers are hidden in the main. Oh, the Disruptors!
Disruptors and the Colossus super exposed, but there is just enough support from these Phoenixes to... I cannot believe that Colossus survived. All of the Marauders were lifted.
How did the Colossi and Disruptors survive? That's crazy. That's a bit of a blunder from Oliveira, losing a lot of supply at the same time. The Roaches of Serral are being fungled here, and the carriers are finally about to reveal themselves, and there isn't that much anti-air.
Yeah, a couple of very good biles from Dark as well. I see it so clearly, Light. One good fungal plus one good purification Nova. And this army of Oliveira is just gone.
Yeah, exactly. And here we go. The carriers are pushing on in. Vipers are here to parasitic bomb and to abduct. I just don't think there's enough anti-air. Here we go. We do have fungals, and we even saw a yoink on a carrier, but not enough shoots up. The carrier just lives anyway.
Yeah, the Vipers got fungled and biled down very immediately. The Phoenix is also having free reign on the sky, really supporting these carriers as well. None of the carriers went down, I don't think.
Yeah,
Dark is so happy.
Zero carriers died. Dark is like, yo, so this is the power of Skytoss on my side this time. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. He can just move forward here with everything that he has. We have a Spire on the way for Serral. We have Hydras as well. But just look at the ground army here to support the Skytoss.
Yeah, so many Roaches and Ravagers available for Dark, and let's not forget, a couple of Infestors survived. The Fungals do land, and so do a couple of Biles. Remember, it's not just the movement that's affected by Fungals, it's also the attack speed, if I'm not mistaken. Good game, well played is called, and DPG is not only our treble champion in WTL, but they're also the inaugural WTL 2v2 champions. very, very hard fought and very, very nicely done here from both teams. Honestly, this was, I think, the hardest match that Dragon Phoenix Gaming has ever played in the 2v2 tour. But in the end, they were favored at the start and they're favored at the end. They will be our very first WTL 2v2 champions.
GG. GG, well played. Oliveira, they were worthy to be up against them in the finals. They were worthy challengers here. We wouldn't have had it any other way. These two teams were so neck and neck. They were so close, going all the way to the ace match here in the grand finals. And I don't think any other team would have been able to pose a strong enough threat to either one of these teams, either Oliveira or DPG. So this is really the best case scenario here, the best that we could have hoped for. Even teams like Shopify Rebellion or Onside Gaming fell much earlier on in much more convincing fashion. And yeah, this was insane. This was intense. Here in the ace match, we saw that unfortunately Serral and Oliveira, they pieced things together a little bit, or they didn't piece things together at all. They had no idea about the SkyToss transition. And as you can imagine, in 2v2, SkyToss is king, and if you can get away with it, if it can go unscattered, it can really swing battles in your favor.
That's the power of the mind games. That's what happens when you get the sheer brawn of Dark combined with the sheer brain power of Hero. Yeah, and even then, it was still a pretty tough fought match, but that little mental victory, that little mind game advantage that DPG had, that was enough of an edge. That was enough for them to eke out the win here in our grand finals. And stay tuned, because I believe we are going to be getting our translator into the Zoom call. We are going to be getting that interview.
Yeah, so originally we weren't going to have an interview if Hero and Dark won, but I believe Kuro floated the idea of CranKy being able to be a caster.
Yeah.
I believe, as I quickly just double check here, yeah, I don't think CranKy was casting. Maybe Inu was willing to translate. Yeah, so I believe Inu was casting in casting WTL as well. So whether it's CranKy, whether it's Inu, I believe one of them will be there to help again conduct the interview.
Yeah. Let's get a couple of thanks Kuros in the chat. Because without Kuro, we may not have gotten an interview at all with DPG.
It's true. May not have happened. So tis great that we will be able to have this here. We also have confirmation that we're going to try and translate, or we're going to try and have a translator to bring it to English. So we'll see. Hopefully it all comes together.
Yeah. Either way. Man, I mean, we're back in this lovely bracket that we've got here, and it's been a wild ride in this 2v2 tour. It's been a very wild and non-stop week of tournament action coming in here, and we saw a lot of craziness happen throughout the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so much craziness. We've seen 2v1s, we've seen DT just come in and just annihilate everything. We've seen feeding games. We didn't get to see too much of that in the round of 4 onwards, but I'm always going to remember Spirit and Raynor having a really interesting team dynamic where Raynor every game was like, just give me all your money, and Spirit was just there with nothing, and Raynor would try and max out with mutas.
Yep. They were definitely having fun, Kaisi Gaming. And that's the thing about the 2v2 tournament. I mean, it's still a premier tournament. There's still a lot of money on the line, but I really dig that all of our players who participated just knew, hey, this is kind of a show match kind of tournament going on. Let's have fun. Let's just do things we wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, and the players had a lot of fun as well. I think that's the most important part. I saw a lot of people just a little bit surprised that, Serral and Solar are having a laugh with each other, or Maru and Solar are having a laugh with each other, or Serral smiling, or, Hero and Dark always laughing together, it was great to see everyone having a good time. And it's really important just because 2v2s is a format that isn't really explored too much. I don't think there's ever been enough backing for a serious 2v2 event. We have seen in the past like Wardy run 2v2 tournaments or Base Trade TV, or maybe it's incorporated in like, you know, on Shoutcraft Clan Wars, for example. Like there have been a couple of small 2v2 events here and there, but it's never been taken too seriously. And I think this is one of the first times that we have like literally the best players in the world playing 2v2.
Oh yeah, even the players who weren't originally part of WTL. I mean, that's the big elephant in the room is that Serral, because hasn't been able to participate in WTL yet, but they organizers did extend an invite to him and said, "Hey, if we can find you a partner, will you be willing to participate?" And yeah, I was able to get in all the best players in the world. Rip Hero Marine, unfortunately, wasn't quite able to accept that invite.
Yeah,
but
the best players in the world, exactly. Meanwhile, it looks like we are going to be setting up for a winner's interview. Once the interview starts, we are going to be muting ourselves, of course. We will not be interrupting, and we can, I guess, talk a little bit about it once the interview does end.
Yes. Looks like it is about to begin.
Yeah, they may actually not know that we can't hear Dark and Hero talking because they're responding to the question. Ah, they are speaking. We just can't hear them, unfortunately. So they're
Who can read the lips?
yeah. I think they're just. There we go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's okay, it's okay. 지금 말하면 되나요?
아니요, 이제 사인을 주실 거예요.
네.
네. BGM이 너무 크게 들려가지고.
They'll figure it out.
보고 있는데 재밌네.
응?木木口，你是说完了问题了吗？
啊
我刚才被退了。
我还没有，他们不是还没叫开始吗？
哦，是
他们现在开始了没啊？我不知道，因为人形没说话。我们要现
我看
在开始吗？
直播是，我看直播是已经可以开始。
啊，那我们先直接开始吧。
嗯，好的好的。
首先恭喜二位选手获得这次比赛的冠军。那么我们首先想采访一下两位选手对2v2的一些看法。
일단 두 선수 이제 이벤트 매치에서 우승하신 걸 축하드리고요. 첫 번째 질문은 두 선수가 2대2 시합에 대한 개인적인 생각을 들어보고 싶어요.
우선 감사드리고요. 평소에 이제 1대1만 하다가 2대2는 이번에 이제 이벤트 전이 생겨서 처음 해봤는데, 해보니까, 좀, 사람이 할 짓이 못된다라는 생각을,
네.
하고요. 솔직히 보시는 분들은 재미있고, 이제, 뭐, 하는 입장도 좀 재미는 있는데,
네.
이렇게 하고 나면 눈도 아프고, 뒷목도 아프고, 거의 그냥, 1대1 하는 것보다는 4배 정도 힘든 것 같아서, 정말 힘들어요. 그래서,
네.
재미는 있는데 약간 힘든 것 같아요. 제 평은.
네. 감사합니다. 네, 김준호 선수로 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
네, 일단 축하해 주신 거 감사드리고요. 일단은 영우가 그 영우가 근육통이 왔다는 거는 거기서 이미 힘듦은 끝났다고 생각하고 이번에 사실 준비하기보다는 생각을 좀 많이 했는데 어, 생각한 플레이가 잘 통해가지고 우승할 수 있었던 것 같고 저는 너무 재밌게 즐겁게 했었던 것 같아가지고 또 한번 이런 기회가 있었으면 좋겠네요.
首先是大可说的，大可说很感谢主办方，呃，举办了这种比赛，因为平时只打了1v1的，不太懂这种2v2，但是总体来说就一个感觉，这就不是人打的，因为他觉得太累了，他觉得观众们看着很爽，但是他打完眼睛疼，颈椎也疼，比平时打的1v1要累上4倍。总之一个字累。接下来是Hero 的感想。Hero 说也是感谢各位，祝贺他们拿到冠军。你们看看，猛张飞大可都说肌肉痛，那你们懂了吧？然后他说，2v2比赛也没怎么准备吧，但是提前想了很多。然后他想的这些还挺起效果了，所以他打得很开心。然后他说，如果下次还有的话，下次一定也参加。好了，可以
好的，
问，哎，
啊，
好的，
你翻译完了吗？好的，
哎，好的。
谢谢大家的看法，然后想了解一下他们有没有什么战术的思路或者分工，而且他们一开始输了2盘嘛，但是接下来他们的风格就转变了，打得非常的凶狠，非常激进，然后取得了不错的结果。那这样子的风格是谁指挥的？当时是怎么想的呢？
이제 경기에서 두 선수가 주요하게 어떤 역할을 각자 맡았는지 궁금하고요. 이제 처음에 두 판을 먼저 내주셨다가 바로 경기 스타일을 바꿔서 상대 선수들 강하게 압박하기 시작하신 것 같더라고요. 이런 오더 같은 건 누가 내린 건지 궁금하고요. 그 당시 상황에서 어떻게 이런 오더를 내리게 된 건지 궁금하네요.
제가 먼저 말할까요?
네,
아, 네네. 우선 뭐 빌드나 플레이하는 거는 처음 이제 준호 형이랑 경기할 때부터 약간 말이 잘 통하고 뭐 준호 형이랑 저랑 스타일이 워낙 비슷하다 보니까 그냥 손 가는 대로 했는데 잘 풀리더라고요. 근데 이번 결승에서 평소답지 않은 모습, 약간 상대방한테 겁을 먹고 수비적으로 했더니 잘 안 나오더라고요. 그래서 원래 우리의 모습으로 돌아가자. 많이 참았으니까 한번 시원하게 한번 하자 했는데 그게 잘 통해서 이렇게 역전의 발판이 된 것 같습니다.
네, 감사합니다.
랑 동일하게 생각하는데
네,
저희가 1 리세트에는 상대방 밸류, 네임 밸류에 좀 쫄아가지고 빌드가 소극적이었는데 이건 우리가 아니다 해가지고 서로 저희가 동족이거든요. 그래가지고 그냥 눈빛만 봐도 알기 때문에 그냥 서로 누구나 할 거 없이 그냥 공격적으로 플레이하자고 했었고 봉인 해제가 된 시점부터 저희가 질 수 없던 것 같습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 大可先说他们也怎么没有准备打法什么战术什么的，但是他们越来打的越多，后来沟通的越好，然后他们其实打法相似，都是非常有攻击性的选手。但是一开始吧，他们打的有点保守，主要是开始防守了嘛。然后打完前2把，发现，哎，这不是我们必须得莽。然后他们后来就开始莽了。结果很好，然后拿下了比赛。Hero 说，他的看法也很相似，前2把就是 开始缩的有点太多了。主要是因为看了对方的这两个选手的 ID，一个是 Serral，一个是奥利维拉，那他们肯定会畏惧一下。但是打完两把，他们哎，同样想到这不是我们呀，眼神互相交流一下，那就直接开始莽，开始攻击性非常强，然后最终拿下了比赛。
好的，那我们想知道一下，就既然就看到这样子的对手，就 Serral 和 Oliveira，那感觉这个决赛中他们两个人输给你们的原因是什么呢？
이제 결승에서 상대 선수들이 박령호 선수랑 김준호 선수한테 진 포인트랑 이유가 어디에 있다고 생각하시는지 여쭤보시네요.
사실 두 선수도 굉장히 잘 했는데, 저희가 좀 더 합이 많이 맞았던 것 같아요. 타인 선수나 세랄 선수 하는 거, 업저 같은 거 볼 때 좀 의사소통에 있어서 화를 좀 많이 내더라고요. 근데 저희는 그런 게 전혀 없었거든요. 저희는 뭐 누가 실수하더라도 뭐 질 수 있지 이런 느낌이었어서 좀 팀 합에 그런 것들 때문에 패배 요인이 있지 않았나 싶습니다.
네.
일단 저 개인적인 생각은 종족이 저그 토스가 좀 더 유리하다고 생각이 마지막엔 들더라고요. 그리고 레옹가 말했던 것처럼 저희가 2대2 따로 하는 거지만 한 몸처럼 움직였기 때문에 이길 수 있었다고 생각하고 어, 그 부분이 제일 컸던 포인트인 것 같아요.
네, 감사합니다. 首先，Duck 说，对方两位选手打的也挺不错，也挺好，但是他们主要胜在沟通方面吧，毕竟对方沟通上还是没有那么通畅。然后他们基于这种流畅的沟通，打出了配合，所以才赢下了这个比赛。然后 Hero 说是个人觉得种族上吧，2v2比赛中种族上还是 Z 和虫族和神族这俩还是强一些。然后加上打2v2的时候，他们俩就像合为一体，就像一个人一样，这种沟通挺好，所以才拿下了比赛。
好的，所以最后总结下来就是他们两个进入了人神合一的境界，所以拿下了比赛。那我们想问一下他，就说这个整个比赛事当中，他们有没有觉得就除了他们决赛对手以外的，就是对他们有比较有威胁性的对手呢？
이제 다음 질문은 이번 이벤트 경기 중에서 이제 결승에서 마주했던 선수들을 제외하고 제일 까다로웠던 상대가 있을까요?
저희는 근데 사실 4강까지 전승으로 올라와가지고 딱히 어려움 같은 건 없었는데, 뭐 그냥 뽑자면 4강에서 만난 이제 알파X 팀이 좀 까다로웠던 것 같아요. 그 전 경기까지는 너무 즐기면서 와가지고 사실 기억이 잘 안 나가지고, 네, 저는 알파X가 좀 힘들었던 것 같아요.
네.
사실 저도 결승 전까지 저희가 진짜 그냥 즐겜했다고 생각하시면 되거든요. 근데 결승에서는 타임 선수랑 세란 선수가 워낙 진지하게 임하기도 하고 잘하기도 해서 저희도 엄청 진지해졌는데 그 전까진 즐겜했어가지고 어, 딱히 그런 건 없었는데 꼽자면 저도 령우랑 똑같이 알파X 팀이 동족이기도 했고 해가지고 조금 준비하는 데 있어서도 까다로웠던 것 같아요.
감사합니다. 我先来个润色版的啊，就是都是鸡不记得。然后按照他们的回答是，Duck 先说的是4强前，其实他们是好像全胜上来的嘛。 然后所以就是不太记得了。然后非要选一个的话，Duck 觉得是4强的对手 Alpha X 有点难打。然后之前因为是打的挺开心的，所以老实说之前的选手都不太记得了。然后 Hero 说是决赛前，就像 Duck 所说的那样，决赛前他俩打的确实很开心、很轻松，所以呃也差不多没有不觉得有什么棘手的选手。然后但是到了决赛，对面选手两位选手都打得很认真，打得也挺好，所以他们说也开始认真了起来。呃，他也是觉得，如果要选一个队的话，他还是觉得 Alpha X 最难打。
好的，那我们现在知道了，他对其他队的人的看法。那现在想问一下，他对他们自己队相互之间的看法，就是他对他自己的队友的看法呢？就他们相互之间评价一下吧。
이제 그러면 같이 경기를 한 상대 팀원을 평가한다면 어떻게 평가할까요?
저희 팀원이요?
네네네.
확실히 이제 1대1 실력이랑 약간 비례하는 게 저는 게임하면서 깜짝깜짝 놀랐거든요. 준호 형이 뭐 이거 뭐 올 것 같다면 항상 오고 뭐일 것 같다면 항상 딱 맞추고 빌드 같은 것도 다 맞추고 이래서 이 형이 진짜 장난 아니구나. 좀 든든하지만 한편으로 이제 좀 무서움 같은 게 좀 생겼어요. 그래서 앞으로 대회에서는 좀 안 만나고 싶네요.
네.
일단 저는 하면서 마음이 일단 든든함을 항상 느꼈고, 결승 올라오면서까지도 저는 진짜 바람잡이 하면서 령우 키우기를 많이 했거든요. 그만큼 령우의 피지컬을 믿었고, 역시 그 믿었던 피지컬이 령우가 보답을 해준 것 같고, 저도 령우랑 이번에 팀플에서 너무 좋은 추억을 남겨서 1대1에서 서로 기분 안 상하게 안 만나고 싶네요.
네,
어,
감사합니다.
네. 아, 네, 여기까지입니다.
네, 감사합니다. 首先，Duck 说他打比赛的时候经常会惊讶，因为他惊讶的点在于 Hero 的这种对局势的判断、对战术的预判，这种太准确了。他说会来什么，对面真的来什么，所以他比赛打的越多，越觉得 Hero 太牛了，有点儿害怕了。所以他希望以后1v1的时候不想跟他打了，不想跟他碰到。然后 Hero 说，他觉得大可很靠谱，所以决赛前他一般是担当那个在前面挨打的，然后就是养大可嘛，让大可肥起来。后来结果表明，大哥确实也报答了这种战术，也打出来了。呃，这次2v2跟他一起打，算是美好的回忆，所以他也希望以后能不跟大哥打1v1就不打就好了。
那好的，谢谢他们的采访。然后最后我们有一个大家都比较期待的问题，就是在接色决赛的时候，我们就知道了大克胡子背后的这个故事。那我们今天想问一下，就是大克选手当时说过，他不夺冠的话就不剃胡子了。那他这个胡子的形状也是那个韩语胜利的胜的形状。那他今天夺冠了，要不要把胡子剃了呢？
이제 마지막 질문은 박병우 선수 개인적인 질문이 되겠는데요.
네네네.
이제 저희가 GSL 결승에서 박병우 선수가 인터뷰할 때 이제 수염 관련한 말씀을 하셨잖아요.
네네.
그래가지고 저희가 알기로는 박병우 선수가 우승을 안 하면 수염을 안 밀겠다 이렇게 말씀하신 걸로 알고 있거든요.
네네네.
그리고 또 박영우 선수 수염이 이 형태가 한글 승이랑 비슷하다고 말하는 분들도 있더라고요. 승리 승이랑. 그러면 이번 이벤트 매치는 우승을 했는데 이제 수염을 미실 생각이 있는 건지 아니면 앞으로 어떻게 생각하시는지 궁금하네요.
확실히 그때 이제 우승 못하면 수염을 밀지 않겠다라는 얘기를 했는데,
네.
아주 조금은 후회를 하기도 하는데, 사실 수염 기르고 나서 팀리그든 개인 리그든 다 좀 잘 되는 것 같아서, 약간 그 수염에 승 모양이 있다 하셨잖아요. 그게 좀 있는 것 같아요. 그래서, 어, 목표를 좀 더 크게 잡아서 이제 앞으로 남아있는 팀리그 결승이나 뭐 IEM 월드 챔피언십 우승하기 전까지는 면도를 하지 않을 것 같아요. 그냥 계속 기르고 있다가 뭐 우승하면 깔끔하게 밀고 이런 식으로 할 것 같습니다.
네, 감사합니다.呃，大可说你们说的没错，我确实在 GSL 决赛中说了，如果不赢的话，不剃胡子了。但是，他说句心里话，他觉得自己有点儿后悔。呃，但是吧，后来发现他留了胡子之后，自己的成绩还有点儿不错。不管是 WTL 还是这次的2v2比赛，成绩都还不错嘛，所以他想，既然这样，把目标放大一点儿，以后的 WTL 季后赛啊，IEM 啊这些比赛中拿到冠军了之后，就踢得干干净净。
好的，希望大可以后在后来取得更好的成绩。那最后再次恭喜他们这个组合小 Hero 和大可获得这次比赛的冠军啊，谢谢。
인터뷰 감사드립니다.
감사합니다.
네,
감사합니다.
네, 네, 끝난 것 같아요.
네,
네,
수고하셨습니다.
수고하셨습니다.
네, 수고하셨습니다.
와, 령우야,
네?
방금 지진 났어.
진짜로요?
오, 여기까지 흔들렸는데? 방금
진,
그거 재난 문자 왔어.
진짜 한국에 지진이 났다고요?
4.0.
4.0이면 큰데?
엄청 컸어. 방금 엄청 흔들렸어. 나 깜짝 놀랐네.
뭐지?
너
여기는
그랬어?
네, 여기는 괜찮았어요.
아, 그쪽까지 안 갔나 보네. 이거 좀
With that,
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed that. So obviously we had very limited knowledge as to what was being said in the interview, but I was just saying in the Twitch chat as well that we will have that interview,
The gist of it.
we will have the interview transcribed, and there will be subtitles available to the VOD on YouTube. So it's all good. It's all good. If you didn't know what was being said, we will know soon, in a couple of weeks, when the VOD does go up on YouTube. Thankfully, we do have some ducklings, some CranKy ducklings that do know Korean and that are familiar, are fluent in Mandarin as well. So we can kind of utilize our ducklings that way. Yaku does not know any of that. As much copium as Yaku has, he knows nothing about any of those languages.
I was taught Mandarin for 9 years.
And you failed! You failed, Yaku! You failed your Mandarin classes. You know what the hell? You don't know what the hell they were saying, okay? God damn it. Yes, we will do our best to provide translations for the VOD. So we apologize we didn't have any
Korea, apparently.
There
that was part of the interview.
There we go. Thank you so much for letting us know in the chat. Thank you. We do appreciate it. And I hope everyone is okay over in the land of Korea. All I heard was like they were like, 진짜? Oh my god. Like they were, yeah. So I hope everything's okay. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much.
Dark has his eyes on that.
I heard they were talking about GSL. They were also talking about Alpha X team, and I think they brought up the random versus random. I think they were talking about that as well. Fingers crossed. But yes, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We do appreciate the support. That marks the end of WTL Winter 2v2 Tour. It was quite an intense week of 2v2 StarCraft, and we will continue next week with the playoffs of World Team League Winter.
Indeed, we are. The group stage is done. And now we're getting to our eliminations. I didn't have a segue.
It's all good. We're going to be getting into the playoffs of World Team League starting next week, I believe. I have to double check with the dates. I'm not too sure which day exactly we're coming back and how many days consecutively we're going to have. But the end of WTL is upon us. So thank you so much for watching and for the support. And I hope you're there for the main event. We're going to be going back to 1v1s soon, which is a bit of a shame. Would have been great if we had some more 2v2s, but it's okay. It's all good.
What can you do?
Yeah, exactly. Our next broadcast is going to be in a couple of days. We have to figure out when we want to do the DreamHack replay cast. I know Yaku is going to be a little bit busy tomorrow and maybe throughout the week as well. So we'll try and schedule a nice day. It's a replay cast. So we can figure out whenever we want to do it.
I wish you didn't remind me.
Yeah, with myself, with Yaku, with Asher as well. Maybe I can drag Chase on. We'll figure out how we want to cover it. We have 2 days of DreamHack left to cover, and then we also have some Home Story Cup replays that we can cover as well. And I think we also have this week's ESL Open Cup Asia that we can do, so we can spread it out however we want. Of course, in the interim between now and Katowice, as we still have around a month to go, or even less than a month to go, before the World Finals. Oh.
Yeah, it's coming down. All of 2022, it's going to culminate in Poland in just a very short month from now.
Exactly. Oh boy. So even though I hope you guys enjoyed your holiday break, because the break is over, the StarCraft will continue. It always continues. Oh,
it never ends.
So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you so much for the support. Massive shout out to Kuro, because Kuro has been with us throughout all of this, handling the production over on her side, not observing, just producing the stream and making sure everything runs smoothly. So thank you so much, Kuro. Thank you so much, Yaku, for joining me as well.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me once again. It's great doing these. It's great doing some of these more interesting, or some of these more quirky kind of tournaments or events that happen. That's what I'm always here for.
Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. So thank you so much. And with that, thank you so much for watching. We are going to be heading off here. If you want to support the Ducklings, then you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're all over the social medias. We have a YouTube channel as well. As a reminder, we will be uploading the VOD to YouTube, and it will have subtitles in English if you are interested in that sort of thing, or it will be transcribed in English, and we'll try and make that publicly available as soon as we can. We'll try and get on that. And if you want to support us monetarily, then we have a Patreon. We have some Twitch subs available as well. If you want to support us that way, you can also donate to the channel as well. All the money that we make here goes directly to our players, because we have a pro team, and hopefully one day to our tournaments, because we used to run weekly tournaments. We don't anymore, but we'll try to bring them back if we do have the money for it. With that, Yaku, do you have anything you want to say before we head off?
Just make carriers.
Just make carriers, forehead. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you guys next time. Ciao.
Bella. Bye.
本次 WTL 冬季赛战队礼盒共有12件产品，我们保留了一些往期口碑不错的产品，并加入了诸多新鲜元素，希望通过努力，在战队、选手与观众之间形成更加良好的生态关系，探寻一条属于社区和玩家自己的生存之道。下面我们来介绍一下礼盒内的产品。2022冬季赛连帽卫衣，蓝黑两色可选，以本届 WTL 设计风格为主题，足够让你在人群中找到热爱星际争霸的同好玩家。2022冬季赛纪念笔记本， 记录了12个战队从 CTC 时代一路走来的战绩回顾和每个战队王牌选手的介绍。同时，对于世界战队联赛不可或缺的第13支战队资料也被收入到笔记本中。DPG 3冠纪念收藏卡， WTL 唯一3冠纪念，王者之师全家福。WTL 联赛上 DPG 3度夺冠，让人难以逾越。同时 DPG 著名传奇选手也悄然上镜全家福。选手卡通形象巴基，尽管不像冠军战队那样炫目闪耀，这4名选手都曾经在 WTL 的舞台上留下精彩一笔，中间2字当之无愧。DPG Rogue 亚克力立牌，可挂包可单独站立摆放，为纪念 DPG 传奇选手 Rogue 而制作的亚克力摆件。特邀画师还原 Rogue 职业生涯中的数个名场面，你能认出所有对应吗？2022冬季赛纪念票，本次纪念票延续了上赛季的设计思路，背面则与夏季赛呼应，以星际老男孩宝藏解说黄旭东及诸多名言为灵感，用火车票的样式进行展现。2022冬季赛选手明信片，包含了本次所有参赛战队的明星选手，是否有你最支持的他呢？让我们为他们助威呐喊吧。2022冬季赛战队贴纸，冬季赛参赛战队 logo 汇集一堂，可贴在礼盒的迷你行李箱上，大胆展示你对支持战队的热爱吧。战队赛贺岁兔年红包，2022冬季赛口罩，2022冬季赛鼠标垫，2022冬季赛迷你行李箱，一改往届纸质外盒不宜收藏的弊端，一盒收纳所有，值得珍藏。好了，以上就是我们礼盒内的所有产品。每一位购买战队礼盒的观众将为燃烧的奖金池注入一份挚爱，未来尚未可知，希望永不泯灭。Hell, it's about time.
Hey everyone, I hope you have been enjoying these great WTL games. Your support means everything. And if you're looking to show some extra love to us, make sure to check out the super cool WTL gift box, which directly supports the Team League. Thank you.
Hello, if you're a fan of the World Team League and you're enjoying watching the games, consider buying the World Team League gift box. It'll help support the league, and it'll allow you guys to keep watching for the next season and seasons to come, and for me to keep playing. And it also has some cool stuff in it, so if you've been enjoying and you want to support, please buy the gift box.
大家好，我是 IG 的麦克森，感谢大家对 WTL 的一个支持啊！有了你们的支持 ，WTL 才能走在现在。然后 WTL 现在出了一个这个礼盒啊，这个礼盒也是比较实用的，而且也比较这个方便啊。如果有兴趣的朋友可以去了解一下，现在礼盒在热卖中啊。然后最后还是要感谢一下大家对 WTL 的一个热爱与支持，谢谢大家。
What's up guys, Rainer here. If you've been enjoying the WTL so far, make sure to check out the gift box. It's a lot of help for the tournament in general. It contains a lot of sick stuff.
네, 안녕하세요. 쇼피파이 리벨리온 테난 변현우입니다. 네, 벌써 2022년이 끝으로 다가왔는데 올해 저한테 2021년은 작년보다는 그래도 나아졌던 아래 같아요. 작년에는 이제 카토피체도 예선으로 통해서 가게 됐었는데 이번 연도는 예선 없이 바로 조별리그로 가게 되어가지고 조금 더 성장하고 있는 것 같아서 매우 좋고, 지금 진행되고 있는 WTL 팀리그도 아직 시즌이 끝나진 않았지만 남은 경기 잘해가지고 플레이오프에서 꼭 좋은 성적 냈으면 좋겠습니다. 또 이제 내년 2023년도 이 월드 팀리그가 꼭 지속되었으면 좋겠어서 지금 판매하고 있는 기프트박스 같은 것도 많은 관심 주셨으면 좋겠습니다. 올 한 해 응원해주신 팬분들 모두 감사드리고, 내년에도 꼭 스타크래프트2가 그 씬이 이어져가지고 내년에도 계속 뵐 수 있었으면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다.